we've got some different teams running the V1 and V2 variants as well, but we're going to be kicking things off with OUG and Alliance. Yuma already trying to pick a fight as NI7 is going to come to blows first. The Halbert's going to be setting them up into that Comet coming on through. Drops down with the RMB, is going to be peeled away though with the Tesla F1, but that's the combo breaker gone from the hero, and that means that Alliance can look to try and punish. Yuma's already down though, as YZG have rolled up, and I'm pretty sure, given the fact that TXJ has already got that ultimate, they're able to get their hands on 2 Fireflies, and the Viper is here to play.
The timing attack, beautifully done by YZG. They see these other 2 teams landing on top of each other, and then they think, oh, we could just land a little bit to the south and just come in and roll through them all. But we're heading on over to another scrap-off. These Firefly games are very aggressive early on, and it looks as though we've even got a Moonbane coming on through. OA and SS1 fighting it out. SS1 are the Moonbane holders. They do lose a member, but their trade comes through onto Tutik. Now a 2 versus 2. Zwan running around with that Matari ultimate. Oh my goodness! Kablam! Coming through onto Meng, the Moonbane. There it is, the Moonbane prowess, ladies and gentlemen. We saw it yesterday. We see it every week. The big purple snake in the sky is very dangerous. You have to be careful about that one. And SS1 are able to take full advantage, making it work, and coming away with 6 kills early on.
Yeah, action's not finished though. SR is going to be coming to ahead with TE Xiaonan going for that Tian Hai transformation. Only has a blue weapon, so he's not going to be doing all that much damage, but SR immediately going to be spacing on out, trying to make enough distance between themselves and the Tian Hai before these grabs can start coming on through. As we can see that Rico is actually in that Syra V1, getting a little bit too close to comfort, but utilizing the dodges, and even if someone gets grabbed, he might potentially be able to look for that stun with the triple charge of that laser, as it's going to be that Zai applying the fire tick burn for Xiaonan, so that when he pulls out of that ultimate, the healing efficiency is reduced by 50%. And off of the back of that one, the TNI has no sustain to stand on.
They do not. Here we are, though, looking at SR. They're pretty happy with what they've got so far. Yes, they do have one of those common armors, the white armor onto Rico, but Zhao, with that purple armor, looking very happy indeed. This is the budget composition. Looks as though they have managed to find Youth hiding in a bush. He parries out of the bush, seeing that blue focus getting charged up, but unfortunately, he's not going to be able to 1v3 this one. Huge numbers disadvantage there. Heading on over to another scrap-off occurring. Another Moonbane as well on top of it. SS1, the Moonbane gamers, they're on a roll right now. 6 eliminations, and they do not want to slow down just yet. Baby you. Oh my goodness, he's not having a fun time right now, ladies and gentlemen. There he is, down and dead at the edge on the side of this cliff face. It looks as though OUG are going to try and make something of this, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do so. YZG are also going to be rolling up Moxie. Are they going to be able to clutch this up and take them all?
They do have that Viper V2 still to go. They got drawn in by seeing that Moonbane on the map, and TXJ thinks this is winnable. He's going to utilize that Viper ultimate, finding the hits onto SS1, punishing the fact that this was a timing attack. This was a third party coming on through, so that Matari was not able to come on out with the ultimate in time. Zuan was getting pressured down as quickly as YZG could turn onto her in case that Matari still had the ultimate coming on out. Jinyu is actually still around, but gets hit by the Tessa V1, and TXJ now just has to wait for a little bit of opportunity. Out comes the silence, the F1 of that Viper into the pole sword swing. The cliffside is making it a little bit harder for YZG to be able to confirm damage off of that CC, but it's setting up the skull rushes absolutely perfectly with this purple pole sword, which is chunking the HP down in one fell swoop.
Chopping them trees down. Very nice indeed. TXJ, he's cooking right now. We were talking about it. Are they going to be able to hit the ground running? And it looks as though they have been able to do so. 5 eliminations on the board already. Very, very opportune, very good at taking advantage of this third-party situation. SS1, although they were caught in this third party, although they were on a roll before and have been they've been halted. They've been halted in their tracks. They still managed to get 7 eliminations on the board regardless, using that first life, that first rebirth very effectively. But now they're going to be tasked with recovering and getting that full reset off and seeing if they can potentially set up the Realm of Yang. But heading on over to the northern region, we have Sunwings Wrestle just north of it. JL and Wolves going at it. Cuckoo, unfortunately, not able to live through this burst down from the Viper composition. We do see LJX just barely navigating away from that monk grab. JL, they're not slowing down. They want to make something happen here. I don't know if they're going to be able to, but as I said it, the grab comes through.
Yeah, and the follow with the Kylan ultimate, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough to be able to secure that kill. One out of the ultimate. He does have the F1. He goes for the overhold, actually finds a release on the LMP. And will be able to connect onto Night HQ 2 times back to back. Now he's got the F1. He's been able to clear the space as well for the Dragon Slayers and Tenezes coming on out from Zhao Zhao. And that is actually JL finding a lot of damage onto Wolves, who have not been able to secure these eliminations. And that's bad news bears, because now the third party's here. Look on the mini-map, ASC showing up to the party.
And JL may have effectively griefed Wolves here. ZK's popping that ultimate, but it's not gonna save you, buddy. ASE coming in like a steamroller, ready to go. The F2 coming in with that big damage, mitigating any possible healing. They'd already used that Wu Chen ult. Very nice indeed. JL did put up a good fight. Unfortunately, they didn't get any kills on the board, but they have taken this team down with them, so to speak. Wolves on the run. One of these players is down for the count. They're going to have to resurrect elsewhere. LJX trying his best to disengage. The Tessa ultimate is going to catch him. It is going to connect, and I believe he is going to be going down off of this one. Not very much he can do, unfortunately. The flying knives, the hang sword to chase down, the Viper. It's over for LJX. But we'll see them recover later on moving forwards. But looking at the leaderboard, 7 eliminations is still the highest scoring, followed by YZG on 5. And here we are getting ready for the Realms of Yang, Moxie. Already, that early game went by in a flash.
Yeah, and I mean, no Moonbane on the field either to be able to cordon off one of these entrances. It is going to be all hands for themselves. And when you have Viper teams in the area, they're going to be looking to secure some assassination hits, some griefs on teams entering into those portals, if the full team even manages to be able to make it through. And unfortunately for a lot of the Transformers teams, they were the ones on the losing end of these fights. So even if they have the rebirth, they're not going to be in a position of loot scaling to actually take that Realm of Yang entrance. Alliance now over towards Shipwreck, going to be cleaning things up against FPX's Kiki. Now just trying to get the last couple of hits of damage onto Fu Yan, chasing them down. NY7 investing that Zai ultimate as well to make sure that this fight is finished as quickly as possible, as we can have a look and see that GG and SR were both able to keep all of their players intact and make it into that Realm of Yang. And it is going to be a Transformers versus a Xiphon composition. CGS wasting absolutely no time in going for the TN high, jumping behind that pillar so that SR aren't able to utilize it to break LOS and stop the grabs from potentially connecting, as Rico is already down.
That's insane. We don't even see the Kylan ult get popped until after he's dead. But definitely a blunder in neutral here coming out from Rico, and GG going to be able to take full advantage of this one. SR, we're looking at like they were in full advantage considering the loot that they had under their belt, but no, GG to be able to fully dominate this Realm of Yang with that loot disadvantage, taking that early scaling into the bank, locking it in. But we're heading over to this other Realm of Yang taking place at the same time. Alliance up against SS1, and in this one we have the mirror matchup with the Xiphon coming through, Revenge, along with his counterpart on SS1, Water, both in that Syra ultimate, trying to make something happen, trying to heal and peel at the same time, trying to set up for some kind of damage. It looks as though both ults are now expired. Alliance and SS1's Zai's are now going to be popping ultimate. It's like it's just one after the other at this point, and it looks as though SS1 are going to be taking the initiative, able to isolate NY7 and take him down very quickly, creating that numbers advantage that is so sought after in trios. It looks as though Alliance are down, and SS1 are going to be able to claim that Realm of Yang victory, securing that golden longsword. Very nice indeed.
Yeah, purple flying knives as well, which is nothing to scoff at. Like you said, SS1 doing a very good job of identifying the out-of-position player, understanding with G1 utilizing that Zai F2, you can close up the distance and take it to a 2 versus 1 very, very rapidly. And then off of the back of that, it all spirals out of control. You've still got the Zai ultimate up to be able to catch the players behind the pillar. And then at that point, it's just a 1 versus 3. And it's a matter of playing with your food so that you can get that buff to run for as long as possible. As ASC pick themselves up like Tiger's Press. That's going to be from a Spirit Well on the overmap. We can have a look and see that SR and OUG, SR immediately going for that revive. Now going to be hot on the heels of OUG, but unfortunately for them, this is not a composition you want to be taking the fight against when you have that Yang depletion, given the fact that Tessa gets 2 casts of her ultimates, but more importantly, Wu Chen can teleport the team away if things start going rough.
Yeah, and it's even after the nerfs to Wu Chen's ultimate, to that V1 allows you to teleport you and your teammates away. It's still very hard to just catch up to them at times. You know, you dump 1 ultimate, perhaps 2, and the desperation's kicking in because you need that bloom. You need to cleanse the Yang depletion, otherwise you're going to die. You're not going to be able to stay alive in this game. So sometimes you just get a little bit too trigger happy and you pop 1 too many ultimates, and the Wu Chen teleports them away and just completely negates those ultimate pressure. It becomes very hard to really come back in those fights, but we shall see if they're able to manage it. For now, we're taking a look at TE and OA. Ooh, 2-tick getting juggled immediately by that Kylan ultimate, and TE do not have a buff right now. OA do have that Vermilion Burst Mites. They have that safety net if need be. 2-tick getting it juggled, getting knocked around by this Kylan peak. On the opposing side is going to get the same treatment. Meng does get caught by the grab, and 2-tick and Meng both get grabbed. The kablam comes through. PP next on the docket. Can Xiaonan find this grab? He's trying to catch him. Meng has escaped with literally a sliver of HP, but I don't know. Is he? I think he's out. I think he might be out scot-free, but it looks as though JL's rolling up and might be able to take advantage of a weakened and resourceless TE.
Now, ultless TE, which means that JL will be able to confirm the damage kill onto TE's Zip. Peak will go down. 1 Soul Bloom picked up for 1 Fong. Still, though, having to cleanse one of those players. Never mind, they're able to get one, I think, off of the body of OA, potentially, given the fact that the Yang depletion for the entire team just disappeared. As that's going to be very good news for JL, as we can have a look and see, oh my goodness, there's so many teams in the surrounding area. SR, 22 seconds left to get 2 of their players cleansed. Might be able to find a bloom off of Revenge, but that Viper ultimate is going to zone everybody away from the body. And SR did manage to find the blooms just in time. 20 seconds left. Might be able to recover, but unfortunately, because of the fight that they were forced to take, because of that depletion, they're in a little bit too thick of a patch of teams around them. They've lost one of their players, could potentially find their revive onto them, given the fact that Yang depletion had been cleansed by the time the body dropped, so you can actually see it just there. It has a Ken. It is currently ticking down. Unfortunately, it's next to a Riptide dealers. And that's a very hot locale whenever we play a Model War.
Oh, absolutely. The amount of loot, the amount of resources, the armors, the weapons, etc. that you can get from the Immortal War shop is very, very impactful in these games, and they unlock as time goes on during the lobby. And it looks as though they not only are they not going to be able to get the rest because of that populated area, but also because SR Zhao is going to be going down to ASE. Mist and Xiaonan are just going to be chasing him down and making his life very difficult, not able to recover from that one. And on the other side, we have TE, who are a member down, having lost that zipping in the third-party situation. And now Youth trying his best to 1 versus 3, not able to make it happen. But on the other hand, we do have that res coming through. So, you know, didn't technically lose a member. He lost one, then gained one, Not too bad, not too bad. Could be worse, I suppose.
GG now. Second round of Yang going to be going head-to-head against JL. The first one, blink and you miss it and it was over. This time it's going to be a mirror match. CJS hasn't started trying to win the rock, paper, scissors, but now that one of his players has gotten grabbed, it becomes much more important that he prevents that follow-up damage. But because he's having to play preventative, he's not getting to play aggressive, and his health bar is already sub 50%. He needs a grab right now to start getting a little bit of that back, but JL know this and are keeping him constantly on the move. If he's running, he's not grabbing. If he's grabbing, he's not healing, and JL win the Monk versus, and now it's a matter of the Kylans trying to find value with the V2s coming into the mix. F1 is going to be invested. LXM being able to capitalize on JL playing a little bit too close to each other inside that stack, but he gets interrupted by the L and beyond that dagger into the Kylan follow-up, and JL's coordination has been clean in preventing LXM to dash through.
It has, absolutely, but is it going to be enough? Because they're still looking pretty healthy on the side of GG at the moment. LXM now coming out of that Kylan ultimate, setting up for that scale rush. One Fong does get parried into the bell, but he's extremely low. He's still taking a considerable amount of damage, trying to turn it around with the 0.9 RMB focus on those fist blades. This stone form release coming out from CJS does get parried on the second hit. GG still going strong. They're still keeping up that pressure. JL desperately trying to disengage, but it's not going to happen. Sends that last-ditch effort, heal his teammates' way, but not soon enough, and GG gonna be able to claim that third purple armor and that second golden weapon. Very nice indeed for them, as they do take full advantage of those high-tier weapons with that scaling factor on the Tianhai and the Kylan. Now heading over to YZG and Alliance, scrapping out over in Sunwind's Rest.
Yeah, YZG getting Draco Storm. The Viper, Tessa, and Wu Chen team going to be doing so much damage alongside the Dragon-like might on those halberds that TXJ is currently rocking. They're not going to be committing to the full chase down, though, as there are so many teams in the area, and they know that that potential third party is going to be incredibly punishing, even with Draco Storm currently up. Much better to play the sidelines and see if you can snipe away some of these kills when players get a little bit closer. Forbidden Seal has been kited to from Alliance's end, though. The Xiphon composition taking safe cover inside the no-ult zone, understanding that YZG can potentially still influence this fight, as can any other Viper test from Wuchen composition. As long as they use the ultimates on the outsides of it, it can still connect to the players inside of that dome. So Alliance not going to be sticking around. They literally just pop that Forbidden Seal and then keep themselves on the move. But what it has done now is paint a massive target on the map. Everyone has seen that Forbidden Seal go up. Every single team with Yang depletion has been drawn to the fight. Can YZG find the eliminations cleanly through it all, or are they going to lose some of their players in the midst?
This could be a bit dangerous. As you said, that dinner bell has been rung. Ding, ding, ding. Got the Forbidden Seal popping up here, ladies and gentlemen. Come gather round for the meal. But no, we'll see if they do get third party. For the moment, they're still on the chase of Alliance. And considering all these tree houses, all of this terrain, it does make it extremely difficult to actually hold one of these players down. They may have managed to do it. For the moment, they do find that Tessa enchant coming through. I don't think it's going to be very fruitful. It's not going to net them very much. And YZG, I think they're going to disengage. We see them backing off just a little bit there. And we might see a re-engagement come through, but for the moment, they are going to take a breather. For now, though, we're heading over to FPX. We're spawned up very close to JL. It might be going for that scrap-off, but we don't know just yet. For the moment, we're taking a look at GG, who, in fact, have lost a member. The burst coming through from ASE. ASE absolutely cooking right now. They've taken down 2 players already in the blink of an eye onto a Draco Storm GG, no less. Absolutely insane. The Draco Storm is... What? That's insane, Moxie.
Yeah, we are going to get to see the Transformers 2025 teams going head-to-head. They both revive, they both have Yang depletion, so even though they're both on Tianhai and want the other Monk to be able to live a little bit longer to keep the attention off of them, they have to knock each other out or they go out of this lobby regardless. One Funk gets a grab, gets the slam. DGE is going lower and lower. He will gain a little bit of his health back before his ultimate drops out, but unfortunately, the teams that were patrolling on the outer edges of the zone, Tian High ultimate is a very noticeable event occurring on that map. That hitbox is pretty sizable. So Wolves, having scouted the perimeter, knew that there were two teams, two transformer teams that lost the Rumble Yang fight, and that would have to take a fight. And the Viper Tester Wuchen composition went hunting. They were out for blood, and they found a lot of tasty eliminations, taking themselves up to a total of 6 so far.
But look at SS1 right now, Moxie. I hadn't noticed until just now. 13 eliminations. ASE also on 9. Absolutely enormous. YZG also looking to try and catch up, picking up their 8th. Their 8th eliminations now here onto who I believe. Who was that? I didn't catch the player that did go down, but we are going to get a replay of this fight between ASE and GG. Absolutely exploding. LXM just disappears. He's just not able to survive the Tessa ult, the Viper coming through. Look at this. Beautifully done, beautifully spaced out. ASE able to take full advantage of this team and the terrain. Just clinically executed ASE. Oh my goodness. No wonder they're doing so well this game. Seeing them up onto how many? 9 eliminations.
9.
Insane.
Yeah, massive. I mean, that's Moonshard.
Yep,
They've got
true,
Moonshard Soldier on those flying knives, and off of the back of that Viper stun from the V1 into the RMB first stage swing from the pole sword. Yeah, that's a lot of incoming damage that you're not going to be able to touch out of. So definitely keep your eyes on that one. I'm sure ASE will be pulling out that combo, so we can see them potentially showing on up to grab out that Spirit Well, but no, everyone is fighting inside this Forbidden Seal currently. ASE are here, JL are here, OUG are here, Wolves are here. Everybody is showing up to the party before they rotate over towards Sunwing.
Oh, wait a minute. They might be caught on this rotation. JL, Kuku, oh, beautiful parry, but the F is going to come in, denying any possible follow-up. And, oh no, JL. They're the ones caught in the middle. They have been sandwiched. They have been hunted down. The wolves, the wolf pack, smell them. Get back down this tree. We wolves can climb. And they're gonna keep chasing him down. Zhao Zhao, he's using that F, but he's got. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, all right. Let's one of us light, one of us release. Let's not release at the same time, guys. Wolves, a little bit of a blunder. They're still gonna keep chasing him. I don't think he's got very many avenues of escape here, unfortunately. So even though he did get that very nice parry, he's going to go down regardless of Wolves picking up another kill for themselves. Looking at ASE over here on the rotation, they are extremely stacked. Mist, gold armor, gold pulse sword, full attack, and then on top of that, fully stacked Juggernaut. That's 32% attack, ladies and gentlemen, with a golden pulse sword, and I believe that was F2 as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's gonna do about 700 damage. Very nice.
That's not a shotgun anymore. That's
a rocket launcher.
Straight up AK. That is not gonna be a fun one to take, especially if you close up the distance and go for it when we're contesting Spirit. Well, that Viper dropdown is going to be lethal, and it is going to be the name of the game. Viper dropdown. We've got a Sunwing Rest final zone, and like you said, you can see all of these teams all the way up as high as they possibly can for the Viper dropdown to be in the surprise factor, and also so that you don't have to worry about your Viper getting taken down in the charge up of that V1. Less important if you're running the V2, she can attack when the chain is charging on up, as opposed to the V1 where you're stuck in that state until the snap goes off. Moonbane is going to go off at the same time. Oh, actually forcing a team to fully reposition, rotate out with a Wuchen teleporter. But unfortunately, when the space is this limited and the Wuchen teleport has that little time to set up, a lot of the time it's out of the frying pan into the fire, as OUG's Baby U just learned that Wuchen teleport deposited them right into the midst of another team who were more than happy to welcome them with open arms.
Oh, hello there. Welcome. Let me take that loot you have there, old boy. Ah, excellent. Thank you very much. No significant kills happening just yet. Really, OUG do lose 2 members. One is now fully down for the count. Tessa is still in can form. We may be able to see some kind of res come through, but I doubt it, considering how populated this area is. That being said, though, a lot of these teams are now turning their attention over to this Spirit Well, which is coming through. YZG trying their best to go for it. They do have they're going for the initiative play. YZG immediately getting forced out again, but the problem is OA have that Draco Storm already, having picked it up from the previous Spirit Well. They're gonna be able to control this, but perhaps not. Perhaps it can't match up to the Moonshard Storm. Yep, they have 2, Moxie. 2 Moonshard Storms. Get out of here. With the miniguns coming through, buddy. You ain't going nowhere. You get caught by one of these. Good luck surviving. Oh,
that's insane. The dome's still up too, so you can't even range pressure them. But they can absolutely range pressure you. ASC though. You see that Han is going low, and they pop the cord of the Wuchen teleport before he goes down, potentially looking for a full reset before they drop down and try and recontest the Spirit Well yet again. But Alliance have seized their opportunity. They've still got the Matari ultimate. The Zai is going to get hit by the Tesla enchantment, and you can see MI7 immediately changing his position so that when he gets enchanted to walk forward, he's not walking into another team. But because they're having to play for the full peel, Spirit Well is yet again open for the taking. We potentially get to see a full-time out here, Dunk, as there are so many teams with a very good ability that lets them lay a stake to that space.
Oh, absolutely. I actually think it's gonna time out. I don't think any of these teams are gonna be able to get their hands on it. SS1, they're gonna try their hand at securing this one, but look at the progression. They haven't even gotten a quarter yet. Now, only just now have they managed to get a quarter of that progression, that capture through. They are still receiving a lot of damage incoming from all these projectiles. SS1 Water is going to go down relatively low, losing all of that armor. SS1 still trying to dip their toe back in to that golden circle. Wolves going to try their hand, going to take their turn. Okay, it's my turn to stand here. YZG say, no, get out the way, buddy. They have Dreadful Whale coming on through, one of the best possible Jades for contesting the Spirit Well, as you just go, you're just untouchable, really. The gold focus, absolutely enormous. It cuts through all of those ranged projectiles, and it might actually be what gets them this Spirit Well. They've almost got it, Moxie.
Yeah, really good Tesla enchantment comes through from QGG, just covering the base with that V1. They saw that another team, OA, was a little bit too close, could have griefed that Spirit Well grab, and QGG is not going to allow it to happen. The Tesla enchantment comes out, the parry comes out, and the additional damage the Draco Storm is doing on top. But oh no, they wish and teleported directly to space that was already occupied, and even with Draco Storm, their health bar is starting to go lower and lower. It's a Dreadful Whale spam that comes out so that everyone can take cover behind their Wuchen Wind Wall and look to reset those health bars. But SS1 and ASE are not going to be making it easy.
No, they are not. Oh my goodness, YZG, they're on a roll. They don't want to slow down. That Draco Storm is going to do so much for them. The lightning strike, it's just so difficult to deal with in such an enclosed space. It's going to be very hard to avoid. ASE trying to hold their ground on this rock formation with those Moonshard Storms. Alliance Yuma is going to go down to YZG here. CXZ going to be able to pick up that kill. QGG dashing around, rolling around, trying to get that heal off. That fire tick, cutting down those healings, but expiring. And we get that heal with the Wuchen F as well. The F coming in from OUG SS, but he immediate regret on his face. He's just back in the... Ooh, how dare you? He pushed back into the zone and fully eliminated. Missed. Now popping that ultimate. The V1 might be huge if they're able to get this stun. They do find one. QGG stuck in the zone, and that golden pulse sword with the big damage, the maximum attack. Is it going to be enough? I don't believe so. His teammates coming in for the peel. YZG say, no, sir. You will go down today. You will not take my teammate.
Yeah, the V2, so even with the Phantom Step, ASC weren't able to find themselves iframing through it. And now it's a matter of, is it going to be Alliance? Is it going to be YZG? ASE still have that Tessera alive too, and could make a play for MVP, being able to win with the last player standing and getting the kill score multiply. But Alliance with this Zai managing to have the ultimate still online for revenge. Syra ultimate still going off. The Tessera enchantment does come on through from ASE's end, but revenge at the moment absolutely untouchable inside the dome of that V1. Who's it gonna be? Is it gonna be anyone at all? TXJ is eating the full damage of the meter dump coming on through, but no, he avoids the CC stagger, and I'm not sure actually if he was the last person standing. I think it might have been a draw, and that's going to be able to bag YZG their first and potentially not last win of the day. That is not a good start.
Siphon, are you looking to hunt down the sand siphon or the transformers, that sort of thing? Whatever your objective may be, you typically adjust whatever it is that your Viper is going to choose to play because of this objective and to suit that goal. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, kicking it off with JLOUG very close together. We don't see any activity just yet. We've seen the Fireflies get picked up as Kukutu does have that ultimate, but no weapon yet. But regardless of whether or not he has a weapon, he is still going to be able to put that ultimate. He's still going to get that laser coming on through. But OUG, they see this coming and they pop that no ult zone very quickly.
Yeah, interesting, because Jimmy was able to get their hands on Fireflies, but it feels like because they're behind in terms of the loot disparity, they go for that Forbidden Seal to force JL to have to reposition, rotate away, understanding that there's going to be teams drawn in by that coming on up on the map. As OUG now going to be running into FPX. Kiki goes for the overhold, releases the RMB, gets a lot of damage onto the blue armor that SS is currently running. He is away from the mix, but you can see that Forbidden Seal absolutely ginormous on the left side, just on the horizon of that map. And OUG now caught between two teams. SS1 going to be also directly behind them right now. So SS trying to build up the damage to regenerate that rage into the V2. Zuan already having the zip ultimate is not going to be able to stick around for long though, as Xuan able to find the power into the follow-up damage with a purple pole sword. And this early in the game, no one from OUG has the armor to withstand the chunk of that hit.
Absolutely beautiful play coming out from SS1, turning it around instantaneously. No chance for recovery. That Tessa just gets absolutely exploded. We're heading over now to Skygaze Cove. ASE and Wolves just scrapping it out. ASE they have already used that Syra ultimate. They are kind of an advantage though. They do find that Dragon Slayer into Nessus, but a beautiful parry coming out onto from LJX onto Han, but the parry gets griefed. And Han is not going to take that damage. Wolves, somebody is getting a slap on the wrist after that one. The single hit parry would have killed. We would have won. It does happen. I'm joking, but it does happen. But it definitely would have netted them the victory in that fight, I believe, if they've managed to get that kill, because of the Soul Bloom coming through. Soul Bloom's in Immortal War, giving you double the resources that they do in normal rank. Now heading over to FPX and JL, you see Fu Yan trying his best to kite away over to his teammates who are resurrecting on the Rebirth Alpha.
Yeah, two Sand Siphon compositions, both with that Cyrus and the Temi ultimate ignored entirely off of the Syra V1 procs. Now it is going to be Kuku repositioning. Kiki does have that Takeda V3 currently in the mix, and he has got those shoves to lead into the immediate follow-up damage of the LMB on that. Pulsar swaps over to the Fan, now looking for the 1-2 light attack stagger to set up for his teammates. He has to be careful that he doesn't lose. The overhold comes on out from Xiao Xiao. Will be able to find the Takeda's damage, but he manages to back on off. Xiao Xiao now with his own Takeda ultimate, but gets hit max distance longsword RMB. He's so incredibly low, activates the F1, goes for the error. Now they're not going to be able to blue attack into him, but they can absolutely drop down RMB him. And Xiao Xiao is taken out of the fight, leaving it now to FPX taking a 3 versus 2. The Syra ultimate cycles back into the mix for both of these teams, but Cuckoo gets stun dazzled by the other Syra V1, and he is unfortunately going to lose a lot of the shield because of this.
This is not looking good for JL. They've already used the resurrection on Wanfeng and Zhao Zhao. Cuckoo he still has that rebirth, so he's not down for the count just yet. He will be able to recover, but his teammates are fully dead, and he's now going to be tasked with recovering the game fully for the team, finding it not one, but 2 rebirth charms to actually get all of his teammates back up on their feet. Not the start to the game that you want, really. Not at all. They go for the aggressive play, go for that run back on the res, but it just doesn't pay off, and they're gonna pay dearly for it. Now, YZG looking pretty stacked, pretty scaled up already. 2 purple armors.
Yeah.
Focus slide as well on TXJ. They're
prioritizing lead scaling. They have 0 eliminations, and I thought, okay, maybe they've lost a fight initially on drop, but they've still got their rebirth charms. So they actually have prioritized scaling themselves up to better set up for that first realm of Yang, which would then in turn scale them into the mid fighters. We're going to be having a look at OA versus TE. Tessa Enchantment of that V1 will be able to connect onto one of these players, and OA now just getting to keep up that pressure before that Sultan can be interacted with. Tusik eating so much damage, goes for the early release on those fly knives before goes for the overhold of the R&B, getting that second stage focus. Will be able to find the elimination off of the back of it as TXJ is then put into the absolute blender right now. He gets frozen, he gets stun dazzled, he gets beamed, he does more importantly get the V2 cast off, and now he can look to put pressure onto ASE's hand, who is still grabbable by the Tianhai even in that Syra ultimate state. Unfortunately, as we talked about, the Tianhai having to take a little bit of time navigating the cliffside as ASE kite away before TXJ is in position. There we go. We've closed up the distance. One player looking for the second. Can we find it? No, the ultimate's running out. TXJ doesn't want to wait around, wants to go for the slam and follow up damage immediately. As YCG have not been able to find the eliminations that they're looking for. This is dangerous because the Viper team is going to get the second cycle of ultimates.
They may be able to, but I'm not sure if it's going to be in time. YZG having bursted down one of their players to making it into that 3 versus 2 with focus slide on top of it all, Moxie. You ain't going nowhere, buddy. It's just focus slide gaming. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Another one of those Jades. Phantom step. Velocity. Oh
Flame
my goodness. We love it. Fun and interactive gaming, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. Focus slide, cutting him down at the ankles, just not able to do anything about it. He was already at a numbers disadvantage. It's like an extra player. Focus slide is genuinely absurd. But regardless, we're setting up for this Realm of Yang coming through. I believe that we have SR and Alliance both positioned right on top of this, not looking to fight just yet, I'm assuming. I don't think they really want to scrap it out on top of this Realm of Yang. They're happy to handshake and simply go to this Realm of Yang as that is their main objective. They don't want... They're both running the new Transformers, so fighting here would just be completely counterintuitive, and there's no need to fight. So going into the Realm of Yang, YZG, I believe, are trying to get there. They're trying to get over to another Realm of Yang portal that they're going to go uncontested. But considering how many teams are positioned to actually go in, there's always a possibility that they don't get in. Oh, okay. As I said it, they make it. They make it. They're through. Let's go. YZG up against OA on the budget Xiphon composition.
Yeah. So I thought maybe we were going to get a Transformers mirror fight, but no, it is going to be Xiphon. Oh, with that Matari ultimate being used to refresh the Xi F2, not to avoid the damage of a Viper ultimate. And it's going to be continuous pressure. TXJ now does go for the Tianhai V2. The fire not actually applied. The Xi mistiming the iframe that TXJ is afforded, so the F2 sails harmlessly through him. And he can now look to position himself onto the pillar and find these grabs. OA are still holding on to that Zai ultimate though. So YCG have the power in the first stage of this fight. The second half becomes a little bit more questionable, and that's the reason why CXC is still holding on to his. He's looking for an opportunity. Another Zai F2 is going to be invested. Out comes that Kylan ultimate now from CXC, keeping up the pressure, knocking and interrupting 2-Tick before he can hit in with the Zai V2, applying that fire tick pressure. The Kylan continuing to keep on top of 2-Tick, who's trying to find the isolation onto that Zip with the fire, absolutely debuffing that Zip healing output. OA doing a very good job of living the duration of the ultimates from YZG. Unfortunately, Monk does go down as I say that, and 2-Tick now on the back foot, gets a Zip F1, manages to hit the staff RMB, goes for a second, tries to find it, manages to get the first frame off, but gets parried before he can hit the purple focus, and YZG with that last little bit of peel will be able to come out on top.
Focus line. Focus line. TXJ having a great time. He's. I bet you if we had the face cam, he'd just be chuckling. What you gonna do? They're having a great time. They played fully for scaling early on in this game and not going for any fights. They find that fight against ASE, the attack on, well, actually it's not Attack on Titan because it is the Justina Sara variation, but it's close. With that Viper still in play, they win that fight, go into Realm of Yang, win Realm of Yang with a disadvantage, no less. The line in this matchup is that you want to try and, like, usually you want to go for the Monk initially so he can tank a lot of damage that they might be outputting. You don't want to be losing any of your armor before you go into that Monk Vajra state. And then you want to try your very best to keep that Kylan ult as long as possible so that it can match up against the Zai ultimate, because then Zai is obviously going to get disrupted so much by Kylan dashing through. She's not going to be able to stay on her feet and actually find that stagger with the empowered focus attacks coming out from her ultimate. So you want to try and do that, but Kylan was forced to use that ultimate before Zai even popped the ult, so they were at a pretty decent disadvantage going into that sort of the middle stage of the fight, but still able to come out on top. TXJ positioning extremely well, not finding himself getting focused down. Instead, it was the zipping, and QGG able to kite it out perfectly. So props to YZG, beautifully executed Yang. We're heading now into another fight going up against OUG with their Viper composition.
Was also potentially looking for the third party alongside Alliance. CXC is going to get hit by that Tessa V1. YZG backing on off as SS1 also show up to the mix with the Kylan V2 in full swing for Juan. They're keeping a track of OUG, who just teleported a little bit closer to where they probably wanted to end on up. And SS1 with this Vermilion Birds might more than happy to keep up that continuous pressure. CXC also not wanting to get caught out behind as we head into the full middle area of Skygaze. Celestial Barge is also now going to be coming into play as OUG trying to lose their pursuers amongst all of the different layers of that ship. We can see the focus slide into the lava damage coming on out from YZG, setting on up for that guaranteed LMV off of the Pole Sword. However, OA on the outsides of that fight, capable of utilizing 2-Tick's V2 on that Zai to keep up the pressure and apply that damage onto the backs of YZG. They've got to be careful that they don't overcommit though, as we did see the Tesla enchantment coming on out to the mix. Lava has now run out on one side of the map. Alliance potentially kiting away over towards the wheel. Will activate the disc and continue that pressure, as it's been a very long time. It feels like I've got to see so many of these teams in this era of Skygaze.
Yeah, in this area of Skygaze as well, as you pointed out, the lava, it really comes down to who's able to get that lava immunity and who's going to have just like huge advantage. You do not want to be fighting on that lava when you don't have the buff that makes you completely immune to it, because it's just a straight up disadvantage. You're going to be taking damage directly to your health bar. So you definitely do not want that. And another thing you definitely do not want is to be in FPX's position right here. Unfortunately, it looks as though all three of these players are going to be going down to Yang depletion. Oh my, it's just heartbreaking. It is the most tilting experience to have this happen to you. They were on 6 kills as well. They were doing very well, but just Yang depletion is killer. You know, you get caught with Yang depletion in mid game. You don't find a team to fight. You're just not going to really be able to do anything, unfortunately. And it looks as though here we have YZG and SS1 just very happy to handshake, because again we have.
I don't know about that one.
I mean, they're just sort of like giving each other little love taps, you know.
Focus slide. TXJ just showing focus slide.
Yeah, they're delaying their entry to Realm of Yang as well, so they can maximize the duration or the effective duration of the buff as well. But
it is going to be YZG going head-to-head against SR who were able to recover their gameplay. YZG, we know that TXJ has focus slide. We also know that Xiao is going to be rocking that V2 full. Mirror comes on through. TXJ already losing a lot of his health, goes for the stomp. Has been able to pick up one player, is going to be interrupted by the kick before he can fight the grab. And yet again, Xiao continues to apply the pressure onto TXJ. We know he's got focus slide. He puts himself onto the other side of the pillar. June is actually going to go for the Kylan ultimate, trying to chase down where that low Tian Hai has gone to. And it's going to be a game of pure coming on out from the side of YZG's. Kylan looking to interrupt Jun before the Zip can apply the F1s onto the Tian Hai's body. Jun now again gets the dash, gets to try and chase down some of these players from YZG, but he's eating the pressure now coming through from CXZ's own V2. Goes for the crouch LMV with those flying knives, gets the max range connection with the LMV as well. And that's another player now brought down from the side of SR. Off of the back of that is just going to be YZG playing with their food and kiting out that Realm of Yang for as long as they possibly can. As we head over and look at the Spirit World to see that GG is doing the exact same thing.
Oh yes, absolutely. We've seen this time and time again. The min-maxing coming on through. It's good to see it, because this is all stuff that could have been done before, but it wasn't recognized. You know, it might seem obvious to us now, but before, when these mechanics and these factors within the game were introduced, it wasn't obvious at all, and it's taken time, but it really does show the evolution of MBPL and of the game as a whole. So very nice to see. But we're taking a look at a replay from the Realm of Yang. SS1 up against ASE, absolutely slamming through. The grab comes into the flying knives, and ASE's just got nowhere to go. SS1 popping off, getting their hands on a Draco Storm, along with YZG as well. And again, there's no need for them to really fight. Another factor that you have to consider in this scenario, they're giving each other the respect of not standing on top of each other with Draco Storm and going for the same shop. But there's no need to fight. One, because they both have Draco Storm, so they'd be completely mitigating the advantage they have with this buff. It's always better to fight somebody without this buff or without a buff entirely. And then on top of that, they don't have any interest in taking each other down going into this end zone, because there's lots of Vipers, there's lots of other compositions, and if they eliminate each other, then they're going to be isolated and potentially find themselves getting focused out by the entire lobby, as they may be the only Monk team left. And as we've talked about before, the more Monk teams there are in endgame, the better.
Oh no, there's only one player left for JL though, and that is unfortunately now going to change. Cuckoo is taken down by OUG, who spot out the straggler and will be able to find the elimination. ASC, by the way, went into Realm of Yang with that Justina Syra Viper variant, and Mist was taken down so quickly he didn't have the opportunity to pop his V1. That's absolutely insane. But given the loot that they currently had, them going for a Realm of Yang is a lot of confidence, but potentially misplaced given the fact that all three of them are still on the blue armor. They might have thought that they were able to steal away a one uncontested, but that at this level is a huge risk to be able to undertake. Although it does give them a 5-minute guarantee of surviving into this lobby on a second life with that Yang depletion now coming on out into the mixes. SR going to be chasing down OA, forcing that Zai F2 out early. Jun X on the Kylan ultimate, going to be able to keep up exactly where OA kited on over to. One body dropped, one soul bloom secured. SR will continue to apply this pressure, but as we talked about, some of these parts of them have very good kiting locations, and Celestial Barge is one of them. The Matari has fallen, but not the entire team, and with YZG showing up with Draco Storm still having a 30-second expiration date on it, SR have to be very careful that they do not get caught out by some of these other teams in the area.
Yeah, you really can't be getting caught in the middle, sandwiched between multiple teams in this scenario, as you're just going to get absolutely crushed by the sheer weight, the prowess of these teams. Kiting one team is hard enough. Kiting two, when you're in between them, is even more difficult. But we're taking a look now at ASC, as you said, all triple blue. It's not looking good. They have spotted out GG, but GG having that Draco Storm and being on the attack on Titan composition as well. I'm not sure if they're really going to be able to commit to this fight with confidence, and instead I think they're actually going to be following them over into Skygaze Cove, potentially finding a separate fight to try and third party or to just take as a straight 3v3. But now OUG, speaking of a 3v3, we've got SR and OUG fighting it out. SR being one of the teams with Yang depletion, having cleansed only one of their players, being Zhao, are trying to take this fight up against this team. Alliance also very close by in the mix. This might be death for SR. Unfortunately, Yuma coming in with the focus slide. The Pulse Sword sliding LMB, doing damage, and he's got no Monk ult, no Bell, and no teammates to help him survive, and he is going to go down to the hands of Alliance.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. Like you said, that was SR's only player who'd been able to secure a Soul Bloom. That Kylan is still saddled with that debuff. ASC now have rotated into Skygaze, and it is going to be the full CC lock attempted coming on out from this team. Can they manage to secure these eliminations against OA fast enough to not get third-partied? Zhao is going lower and lower and lower. Has to utilize that Justina F2 to find a recovery for us out the R&B on those fist blades. The stun dazzle also connects onto OA's PP, but Zhao went for the follow-up R&B and gets parried. However, Han was able to find the elimination. That's another Soul Bloom picked up, and with 1 second left, unfortunately, ASC are going to be losing their Viper as GG just lost CJS to the Moonbane. That's making it so difficult. Moonbane is throwing his hat into the ring to control the Spirit Well as NY7 moves between the lines and stays alive, utilizing the hitbox of the Tianhai V2 to cover the zip, picking up Yuma. As now out of those ultimates, YZG look for second cycle of control.
What? We need to just get this in our heads, ladies and gentlemen. Moonbane is dangerous. What's going on? Oh my goodness. GG goes down, loses their Tessa, I believe, and then we see just, oh my god, just actually insane. Just, I don't even know how many hits of Moonbane that was. Felt like 6. Or something along those lines, and just all in one spot, one after the other, of completely obliterating that player. And thank the Lord that zipping was had ultimate up. Otherwise, they too would have gone down to that Moonbane. Alliance are going to be the ones picking up that Draco Storm. But goodness me, what is just an emotional roller coaster whenever we see Moonbane now. I swear, it's just every single time. Will they? Won't they? Will they respect it? Because it certainly warrants respect. I think at this point, if it's not clear to you, you need to get your eyes checked. Genuinely.
Yeah, that's very much a sort of lightning conductor, it feels like, for Moonbane every single time we do see it coming out into the mix. TE, though, going to have to be very wary of how they rotate around Alliance, who are going to be gatekeeping their rotation. Little bit of pressure, but Moonbane is going to be coming into play. And this time around, I'm pretty sure everyone has learned if you play with fire, you're probably going to get burned.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially that purple fire that's extra spooky. You don't that's extra spooky, extra devastating. Alliance making their rotations around the edge of this Moonbane, at the edge of this storm. I believe TE seems to be the focus of their attention. They are on this Viper composition, this attack on Titan comp, but they don't want to. I don't want them to survive until those to the end game, and not only because they have no right to be really surviving this long, considering it's Viper and Wu-Chen, but also the fact that they could very easily grief one of these new Transformer compositions and fully deny them their time in the spotlight, as endgame with monks, with all these scaled up jades and weapons, is exactly where they want to be, exactly what they want to get to. So we'll see moving forwards, once this Moonbane drops, whether or not these teams are going to be able to fend off the Vipers or focus them down. Alliance taking the initiative, going to be going over to the Spirit Well to try and secure the Draco Storm coming on through on this final one of the game.
Yeah, utilizing the Draco Storm that they had previously, but NY7 inside that Tianhai state already is going to have to time the drop of the ultimate to not get hit. Unfortunately, will not be able to iframe the Tessa enchantment. However, is still going to be alive. Alliance's two other players, the Zip and the Count, doing a very good job of focus attacking to cover the Tianhai, as well as taking advantage of the dome that we mentioned, blocking all of that incoming range damages. But GG now deciding that they want to try to make a play with their own Viper ultimate. Yuma does get hit by it, but he's still got that Kylon ultimate coming into the midst. At the same time, he's being intercepted by another Kylon's ultimate, but Draco Storm is secured on the side of Alliance. That's going to be two ultimate cycles now coming in for the Transformers team, with all of these players stacked one on top of the other. Yuma is in an absolute field day right now with the damage that he's getting to put down onto the players of OUG, alongside the Draco Storm that is extending that damage even further with the lightning AoE off of every single one of those dashes. And OUG are going to have to hope that that Wu-Chen teleport went unnoticed as they reposition themselves. YZG going out into that zone, TXJ activating the conductor wheel of the lava so that YZG can get access to the lava. Proof debuff coming on through, as well as keeping up the pressure onto all of these players in pockets of space where the lava can still reach them. Is not going to get spotted on out, will be able to get that fully on off without being punished and held into the zone, as OUG are still under threat from these Transformers team. SS trying to carve out a position of safety for them with the Viper ultimate, will be able to find the stagger onto TXJ, but the parry comes on through. The Wu-Chen teleport at the last second, bailing them out before the Viper falls, and with Draco Storm still lasting for another minute, no one is going to want to actually take a fight properly.
No, not at all. Those Vipers, when they were jumping into the Spirit Well, it's like, guys, I silenced him. Guys, hello? Where's the rest of the lobby? Please? No one wants this? Okay, GG. Okay, all right, fine. He can have the Draco Storm. Let's just let him have it. Two Vipers did the same thing, trying their best to make something happen, but no other team showed any interest. Now we have the last few moments, the zone closing in, water up on top of this tower, on top of this roof, and trying to find these grabs, but just not able to really find any of them, unfortunately, because there's a lot of avenues of to break line of sight, protect themselves from any of these grabs. Now coming out of that ultimate, GG taking the high ground along with TE. Both teams very close together, much more interested in focusing down SS1's Water, who had just used that ultimate on the Tianhai, and perhaps these other Tianhais. ASE down below on the ultimate low ground, trying to hold this basement or this secondary level of this I don't really even know what to call it, this giant castle part thing. SS1 is going to get caught by the ground. Those one eating the damage, the Flamebringer coming through. YZG picking up another kill, going up to 11. tying themselves up with OUG also on 11. Alliance NY7 now coming out of that ultimate. SS1 have lost 2 members. One Kylan left alive. He may be able to make something happen if he's able to hold on to that ultimate. As we can see, he's sitting at the very, very top, at the ultimate high ground right now. He's completely out of the way, but will he be able to stay there is the main question.
Will YZG be able to walk away with the kill score multiplier as mine? They're at 50 points almost. If they get that kill score multiplier and a couple more eliminations, then it is entirely possible running a Transformers team which has access to the Tianhai V2 to survive the heal situation, and the Kylan V2 which has the 4 seconds of invulnerability or rather immortality with the healing guard. TXJ looks for a grab. He's already got 1 player. He's going to have to drop them though because of that Viper stun coming on out, and it's going to be followed up by a Test enchantment and a Justina freeze. ASE presence still very much being felt by these Transformer teams, as poor TXJ has not been able to find the impact that he was looking for. His helper is going lower and lower. He's got to jump into the center, but he goes down inside his ultimate. At the same time, QGG gets picked by SS1, who start to jump ahead of their competition in terms of this lobby. Alliance still making a play. CXE with the killing guard going to be staying alive for a little bit longer. Gets the dash through so many of these players. Their health bar getting to regenerate off of the back of all of that damage, but it is not enough. ASE will be able to keep themselves alive, denying YZG the kill score multiplier. And I think off of the back of that damage done, YZG do not find themselves on MVP eligibility, but Dunk, it's gonna be real close. They'll 1 game off of 63 points.
They are, and it's looking like the 4-game series is more and more a reality moving forwards here. It's definitely
Not there, they are tucked just behind TE.
They're very, very close to them. Both teams are spawning on these fireflies, and they're like just tucked in between these 2 gold zones. We're heading over to where the action's taking place. OUG and SR fighting it out. The Xiphon up against the attack on Titan here. Jinyu is going to eat that Dragon Slice into Nezas, but SR is already a man down, and looks as though that's going to be accelerated even further very quickly. And OUG going to be able to make short work of SR, picking up 3 eliminations right off the bat. Now, moving over to OA, who are making the rotations through Plume Castle. SS1 also on the outside, looking to chase down JL. SS1 has managed to find themselves a purple armor and 2 blues already. Not the best weaponry, but definitely a good chunk of effective health here. As definitely a good thing to have at this early on as that Viper comp, because you do so much damage already with your team composition. You got the very burst oriented objective.
Yeah, and I mean, JL saw that purple armor and immediately kited over towards the Forbidden Steel to deter them from taking that fight. ASE and FBX not really taking a fight just now, very much filling each other out, both of them having blue armor and blue weapons. ASE a little bit split in terms of their kiting path, going much more horizontally around this map rather than vertically. So it is now going to fall to Zhao Wen on that Matari to be the buffer, the player between the rest of their team and FPX, so that the Matari can ult and try and get everybody to safety. As Kiki looks to try and find an entrance connection with the F2, won't be able to find it, goes for the double jump over the RMB from the Flying Knives, and now actually goes for that Zai V2, catching ASE's Han a little bit away from his team, and now Han is forced into throwing out that V1 to try and throw the stun dazzles out and keep up the pressure onto the Zai, preventing the V2 from following through.
I'm very surprised that FBX is going to be able to actually just straight up run them down here, as we saw ASE running over to this specific location where there are 2 Fireflies, and they had full ult advantage initially and are now on the back foot, having lost one of their players very quickly. But ASE, they're certainly putting up a fight, and they're fighting back against this onslaught. Now, Kiki having to back off, being chased down by Han. The blue Flying Knives, he's trying to chase him. Fuyana with that purple greatsword, trying to make something happen, trying to peel for his teammate. Han is going to be forced to use that combo breaker now, having no grapples. Wasn't able to close the distance onto that player he was chasing down. The dash coming through, the RMB on that greatsword is going to do a chunk of damage. Han trying to kite away, not getting caught on wake up, thankfully, but it's not going to matter as his teammate goes down and all three players then focus their attention onto him, denying any possible way of escaping with his life.
YZG having a little bit of a quieter start to the day, but I'm sure since they're on a cannibal composition, if we cut to them, they're probably going to be taking it just as slow as we saw them previously do with that Transformers team, so they can look to scale on up into the first realm of Yang fight and have the best possible advantage of winning it. Wolves, familiar hunting grounds. This team absolutely adores to puff through Matard, as it's going to be Imperial now that we have a look over. It's not GG that we're following outside of Waterfall. It's going to be JL on Alliance going head-to-head. Cuckoo goes for the RMB on that fan. We'll be able to find the connection as well as the uppercut follow through to keep up the pressure as the Wuchen utilize that F ability to carry himself above the Cyrus head. Now Y7 has gone down. Here's GG. Would have been Imperial without GG showing on up to the mix. Unfortunately for Alliance, that third party is going to be lethal. They're going to lose revenge, and GG rolling on up to the mix a little bit later have been able to lay claim to that familiar territory.
They have indeed, but it looks as though they went down early on and took they resurrected. I'm not sure if they died in this area and then resurrected, bided their time, waited for that team to fight. Regardless, they did lose their lives early on, but are able to salvage their early game at the very least, by coming in at the opportune time and claiming that third party and finding that one elimination and holding this space now, the territory, as you said, and going to be able to loot up before moving forwards. Now, SS1 Zwan looking to try and come in and grief this team, trying to find FPX, slacking Zwan up, popping out their ultimate. I do believe they have Matariel ready to go, but they're not going to need it at all. Oh my goodness, Moxie. SS1 with the blunder, not able to get that Moonbane down in time. They are going to lose two members now. Zwan coming in to see if he can make something happen, but he's just going to have to try and find the res.
Ooh, he's so close. He's trying to stick the res, but FPX are not letting him free. Those bodies are potentially going to bleed on out, but Xuan will be able to find the connections, keeps tapping onto the cans to keep SS1's players from fully bleeding on out as Kiki, with the pressure from the RMBs of those knives as well as the musket, keeps up the pressure onto the Wu Chen. But Xuan's been able to find the grapple extension, and with the reinforcements are there, it is just one Wu Chen versus the entire team from FX, but he's done what he needed to do. He was able to generate the rage necessary to complete that Wu Chen v1, and with the Moonbane in the mix, the third party is actually here. SR and OUG now going head-to-head inside the city of Tang, allowing the Wu Chen to fully revive both of his two fallen teammates.
It's just so much action taking place in this city, the city of Tang, the city of oogliness right now. Kiki is gonna go down to SS1, but SS1 having lost a member, Zwan, you know, it's looking somewhat even at the moment. Zwan does not have that ultimate, so it's not gonna be an easy escape if they get third party, which is exactly what happens. ASE jumping in. The dinner bell was rung, Moxie. The Moonbane being dropped on this area instantly meant that everyone knew there was going to be a fight taking place. They knew there was something happening over there, so they positioned themselves, they rotate around and get there as quickly as possible. But now, yet another Moonbane has been dropped in this area, making it so that all these teams that turned up are going to have to take a quick step back, slow down a little bit before they can look to try and get aggressive once again. Speaking of, ASE are going to be able to peel off this stun, the charm from OA, and OA 2-Tick's just going to go down within seconds, not able to use anything, not able to use that ultimate, the parry coming through into the immediate follow-up. Massive, very nicely done by OA. OA, they were in a good position, but just immediately cut down.
Yeah, FPX gonna be looking for those eliminations. PP now the last one left. Oh no, the Wu Chen isn't able to pull off the V1 in time. ASE take him out of the mix. And potentially with that Moonbane still in play, that action is going to continue inside City of Tang. But I think a lot of these teams, you can see so many players in Soul form, going to be heading on over to the Soul Altars, where TE are currently lying in wait inside this purple invis bushes. ASE clock it, immediately a back turn and reposition as we're going to have a look to see JL versus YZG. This is YZG. We're finally going to get to see them. We got a glimpse of them when they were looting on up. And it looks like they have been able to scale. That's a lot of purple soldiers, one purple armor, actually going over to the Justina rather than the Zai. As we're going to be following Cuckoo's POV, looking for a little bit of entry damage coming on through with those knives off of the back of the pill, looking for the drop down. QGG's already had the F2 force on that. Justina drops down with the LMB, will not be able to find the connection. CXG's actually in the middle of that Ferrier ultimate. QGG also going for his ultimate at the same time, but he's getting so much pressure with the chase and of that Matari. Utilizes one of those dashes, not for a free setup, but to avoid that Zai F2 before keeping himself skirmishing around those pills. The stun dazzle is able to hit onto one of them. QGG looking with the drop down to find the follow-up dash, but he now gets hit by the Cyrus CC and goes for the overhold of the RMB to be able to connect through that pillar onto the players of JL on the other side. Throwing out back-to-back RMBs, all with the safety blanket of his Syra V1 behind him. But now that the ultimates are done, who is going to be able to win the long-term sustain?
This is not looking good for YZG, although that being said, looks as though Xiao Xiao does find the knock-up with that Zai ultimate, but not able to fully follow it up as his ult immediately ends the moment he goes for it, making it just very confusing as he RMBs and just gets the flying knife RMB stage 1, just very confused, not able to get that full follow-up. QGG does lose a lot of that HP. Thankfully, the group heal comes through from one of his teammates, is going to be able to heal them up just a little bit, and they might be able to turn this around. And JL, all of a sudden, they were on the front foot. They had that Zai ultimate, but it ending just as they were able to follow up from that ultimate, meaning that they don't actually come out on top. YZG able to stabilize the group heal coming in. Absolutely huge for them. This might be it, Moxie. It might be it. 3 kills. You know, slow start, but they had a slow start last game, and they still ended with 15 points.
Yeah, 7 more eliminations before we even take into account ranking points, and YZG will be over the threshold. Actually, they need even less than that. 10 would actually take them to 65. Crazy stuff coming on through. The last time we saw a team finish off a day within 4 games was Wolves, back when White Tiger's prowess was unnerved and you could literally Thanos snap the lobby and go from 0 eliminations to 20 in the blink of an eye, which was exactly what Wolves were able to do back to back to back. And in fact, it was actually Wolves the last team that were able to come on through with 3 bi-weekly wins underneath their belt. Can YZG do the exact same thing today? They're definitely looking on track for it, as now they're going to be looking to try and take down GG out over towards Frozen Lake. LXM already forced onto the back foot. GG do not have Yang depletion. They don't have to take this fight. In fact, they've got Vermilion Bird Smite, so they're going to be hyper buff too. Forbidden Seal comes into play. No one having access to their ultimates means YZG can't run away. They're full sending it. TXJ utilizing the second stage of follow-up of those flying knives. The RMB keeping up the pressure onto CJS before he swaps over to the LMB to catch him with the spread. And that's another elimination picked up from YZG. GG's free throw was able to kite to the other side of Forbidden Seal, so that Syra V1 is going to come out into the midst. But JL saw the Forbidden Seal, saw that there were 2 teams fighting, and roll on up because they've got Yang depletion and they need to drop these bodies.
They certainly do. They're trying to find the chase down onto TXJ. TXJ now going to be popping out of that Forbidden Seal zone. Is going to get that ultimate online and kicking it. CXZ also, he's kind of stuck in the mix. He's still got a ways to go if he wants to try and get that ultimate off, but he is being chased down and pressured by these other players. GG diving in. It looks as though JL is going to take the kill onto CXZ, not able to disengage. QGG as well in a similar situation does go down to OA's PP. We have so many teams popping up in this area, and as we've talked about before, the Forbidden Seal is just the dinner bell. It just means that every team who's even remotely close to the area, within a couple 100 meters, no, even more than that, 400 meters, is going to be able to see this dome pop up and just head right on over there. Now heading over to the Salvation podium, the puzzle area. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no. But underneath the podium where the Thorny Roller lives, it is his domain. Wolves disrespecting it a little bit. Oh, come on. What are we doing?
Guys, stop. Look, listen. That's... Oh, no. Yeah. It's going to come right again. The Karumi ultimate is released. Oh, no. Thorny Roller gets an elimination in 2025. Wolves, 26 seconds left on the time bank to be able to pick up these bodies, still needing 2 Soul Blooms. And it is going to be OUG's baby losing his life as Thorny Roller hits another player. Yet again, FPX rolling on up to the mix of the third party, though, having all of their ultimates on hand. Kiki with the Zai V2 is going to be the first to proc Vez, gets the pressure and just keeps it up. The stagger on tonight HQ, there's absolutely nothing you can do. Zai can still parry you inside your ultimate, but you can't parry those chain dives. And off of the back of that, FPX will be cleaning up, as I mean, YZG, yeah, they lost Pavilion Birds fight on that fight in Frozen Lake, but I don't think they're unhappy about that one, Dunk, because they picked up 30 extra eliminations off of the back of it, and they're at 59 points almost. A couple more eliminations, some ranking points on the mix, and YZG in 3 games are going to surpass match point eligibility.
They could very well do so, Moxie. But you know what I'm looking at right now? Having talked about FPX leading into this game and saying that they, unfortunately, were the one team that didn't really seem to be able to find their footing so far, are on a tear. And they heard me. 11 eliminations so far in this game. They are gaming. They're definitely looking to try and catch up to the rest of these players, as they certainly are going to have to. They want to try and deny the win for YZG, or at the very least just come in at a higher position if they do end up taking it all in game number 4. FPX are going to be able to claim yet another elimination as well, going up to 12, catching SS1 in the zone on their rotations in water. And Juan are going to look to try and find the resurrection, but they're going to be denied it for a second. The musket shot coming on through to disrupt one, but they are going to get that resurrection. The Wuchen F coming in as well. OUG desperately trying to salvage their game as well. Very close to this team. SS. Oh my goodness. He does go down though. He immediately died to a player. He teleported into,
oh no,
I think, into somebody else. I'm not really sure what's going on. There's a bit of a mess down there. Let's go to the realm of Yang where we know what's happening.
Yeah, YZG versus GG. Who is going to come out on top? Both of these teams hyper scaled up off of their previous realm of Yang win. But TXA on that side is absolutely unstoppable. Stun Dazzle has already been able to bag and secure an elimination for YZG, making it a numbers advantage to their side. Free are now out of that Syra ultimate. CGS does come in with a late Zai V2, but unfortunately gets CC'd up by TXA on the tail end of that ultimate. Zai still having that ultimate in the mix, has another F2, throws it on out, trying to take advantage of YZG stacking a little bit too close together. Everyone trying to fiend for the elimination, but no, YZG tie it off cleanly, and that's another 3 eliminations picked up, Dunk. That's going to be legendary Jill Blades coming on through for them as well. And when we look at the overall standings for this team, I'm pretty sure they're a stone's throw away from 63 points.
I think they may already be there, or almost just like just maybe 1 point off. Oh my goodness, insane! They pick up the Draco Storm as well. They're gonna be able to dictate the pace of fights moving forwards, going into this end game, this transitionary period between that mid to end game. We've got FPX, Wolves, and I believe one more team in this area right here, looking to try and sort of just testing the waters at the moment. JL, having won their realm of Yang, are going to also have Draco Storm. Are we going to position over to the Spirit Well? That's the question, because there is a Spirit Well on the map right now, but it's just not been picked up. And it looks as though Alliance may have just done exactly that. They were delaying it, I think. We may see their perspective soon. But no, well, actually, TE lost one player in the realm of Yang. Or they have one player with Yang depletion. Did one of them go in? Surely they haven't.
So.
Two, because that would be Yeah, Alliance claim the Spirit Roll right here. We see them looting up, and it looks as though yeah, I don't know what happened there, actually. Only one player with Yang Depletion.
Oh, 62.2. Why is it here on 62.2 tongue?
Less than a point.
They just need to either outlast some of these other teams or get one more elimination credit, and then they're MVP eligible. And with Draco Storm in play, yeah, they're definitely gonna be gunning for it. As we can head over and have a look to see Alliance and JL, two teams, both with Draco Storm, who've kited on over to the outsides of Plumed. No one really wanting to take a fight against each other, but then both more than happy to just patrol around each other and try and look for a timing third party on whichever of them ends up taking an actual fight first, given the fact that they're both on the Viper Tessa Huchen composition.
Yep. Looks as though FPX and ASE right here are not interested in fighting each other, as they're both on this Xiphon composition. GG sees the Xiphons moving as a herd. Okay, let's join in. All three Xiphon compositions now rotating around the map in unison, it seems like. Not interested in fighting each other just yet. It's only a last resort. They'd much rather head over, find one of these other team compositions so that they can take them down first and not risk. You know, they could go for this fight, but it's dangerous. And look at this, Mox. What is this soloist? What's happening right now? Why is there G and Wolves have found each other too?
Yeah, the problem for GG is that TE, the other team with Yang Depletion, only have one of their players with Yang Depletion. So they're not forcing a fight, which means that GG have to force a fight instead, but then that tips their hand. CJS trying to go for the skill rushes, just hitting in with that hit of damage from the legendary greatsword, but he's putting himself into focus fire position. And if one of these players goes down because they have Yang Depletion, they die immediately. They can't get picked up, unlike the others. CJS having to use all of his stamina as well as that Xi F2 to avoid the burn, the pressure of the Syra microwave beam, but it's still following him. ASE, the Syra V1 is too much for GG to stand, and they lose the hyper carry of the composition.
The Syra coming in with the beam, denying escape. There's nowhere you can go, and that's the sad thing as well, because GG, they have their Syra too, but hitting the orbs to heal your teammate is a lot harder when your teammate's trying to kite away from the enemy Syra, lasering him down. The hitting the orb is way harder than hitting the beam, so makes it very hard to actually kite this out. You have to just try and stay at the same altitude essentially, and not actually go up and down, because otherwise you're going to make it extremely difficult for your own Syra to heal yourself, to heal you. It's just almost impossible. Now heading over to the Spirit Well, YZG and Wolves both positioned around their Spirit Well right now. YZG might be the ones taking it for themselves, though. I don't think Wolves are going to contest them. I think they recognize big bro with the gold armor. Let's yeah, okay, all right. You can have it, big bro.
With the 2 gold armors, Dunk, not 1.
Gold armors. Yeah, 2.
2 gold armors. Yeah, YZG are gonna be kiting this one as long as they possibly can, ringing the bell, getting some information of whether or not they need to put to the gas pedal and pick up that Draco Storm before it does become hotly contested. As that one elimination up of MVP eligibility. Alliance and SS1 going to be doing a little bit of last-minute Christmas shopping. As we can see that Spirit Well still has not been picked up. OA potentially in the area. JL have also rolled up to the mix. So now YZG... No, never mind. JL saw the 2 cannibals and think better of staying as close as they were. Kuku is still sniffing around. He doesn't want to give it entirely on up. As one of these teams is going to have to cap that Spirit Well sooner, otherwise it's going to go kaput.
Yep, it's going to disappear if neither team picks it up, but I think they are about to do so. I think we'll be seeing it pop up in a few moments. For now, TE making their rotations alongside OA and Alliance, all pretty close together. They've sectioned off this northern part the edge of, on the outskirts of Imperial Village. Well, I think, can we get the Draco Storm already, guys? What do we do? We just, I mean, there's no need to take it yet because they're not actually being pressured. But let's just, okay, here we go.
Okay.
Here it is. They're gonna take it.
Now, TXA is, oh, okay. TXA is so far forward. This is a huge risk for YCG. He does get tested or enchanted. But yeah, there it is. YCG picked up Draco Storm. So TXJ, even if he gets pressured without his players to be able to kill for him, he's going to have another Syra V1 to keep up the aggression. And with that, the pot has been stirred. YCG instigates so much aggression as all of their teams cannibalize the safe spaces, stacking one on top of each other in that desperation to escape the cannonball composition rolling on up with Draco Storm.
The Alliance may be cornered. They're in a bit of a bad spot. YZG is slowly creeping forwards, finding that way in, but Alliance, they do manage to break away. The very edge of this Moonbane, YZG, they're apprehensive. They recognize that Alliance is headed on over to another Viper composition, following behind Look at all these Vipers.
No one wants to be the one next to YZG.
Yeah, no one wants to fight each other. No one wants to fight the YZG right now. No one's interested. This is a YZG. There we go. TXJ, having been the forward force, the attacking player, had not picked up that golden armor. He's heading back over to grab it from that spirit well, and now this secondary or this final spirit well is going to be spawning in relatively soon. I think that's where all these teams are headed. They're positioning themselves. But YZG, like a sheepdog, herding everyone in that direction. They're going to be able to potentially push them off it, as they still have another 50 seconds on this Draco Storm.
Yeah, the corral comes through. JL currently in the driving seat of this spirit well. How long that is going to be the case, that remains to be seen, since there are so many teams stacked around each other. YZG not actually making... Oh, no, there we go. Ferrier puts the V2 down. That's the second V2. Wolves and YZG splitting the spirit well in two. QQ is going to see that the dome is going to pop, and JL will be able to get their hands on Mystic Might. YZG were not able to get their hands on it because Draco Storm still being in the mix, but they do what they need to do. The fighting has occurred, and YZG wisely don't put themselves into the front line. They go for a sideline position, a spectator position, so one of them can swap to the musket, pull a GG, grab the kill, and grab themselves over the match point threshold. YZG cross the path of 63 points, and no matter what happens now, their job here is done.
It is indeed. And as you can see, they get that kill. They're like, all right, let's go. Whatever happens, happens. Doesn't matter. We did what we came here to do. And now they're just running in, pulling the trigger on those ultimates and just getting oogly. Speaking of oogly, we've got another Moonshard Storm coming into play for JL, it seems. With Mystic Might under their belt, they're looking to try and dictate the pace of this endgame, but Mystic Might, it's not like those other buffs. It's not going to give you as much like aggressive potential. Regardless, though, they're going to try and manage it in any case. SS1 is one, very low HP, just barely making it out of the zone. They're having to go through the cave. Unfortunately, is not going to survive, though. LJX picking up the kill onto Zwan with that quick musket shot from across the safe zone. Alliance and TE both at the top of this rock formation, just desperately trying to stay alive and heal up, with all of these teams on the other side just sending cannon shots their way. JL, YZG, Wolves, all of them shooting at them, and they're just huddled together at this point. Alliance, NY7 now popping that ultimate. Will he betray? He's turning on TE. The betrayal coming through. Oh no. An Alliance having been forced in this position. Now they do lose a member, teleporting out, and the Viper compositions are cannibalizing each other, and they are probably going to go down without further ado, as all these other players are going to be popping that Syra ultimate and getting very aggressive.
Yeah, the Lion King moment comes through, but the only king on top currently is YZG. They're getting all of the eliminations. It's absolutely insane. FPX are in with a good chance of taking the MVP of this round with the 15 that they've been able to get, but the curtain has not closed just yet, and QGG hopping around inside this Farrier mech with 3 legendary armor sets up. But YZG is also actually holding on to the Syra V1 to win the heal-off situation. Yeah, they're more than happy with how this round has gone through. Everybody else takes to the sky. Wolves also having that Farrier V2 still down on the ground to hop into if they feel pressure, but QGG just swaps over to the cannon just before it runs out, gets a hit onto both FX's Puyan and Ti Xiaonan at the same time. And YCG pick themselves up their 15th elimination. QGG 9X to come on through with that Justina V1, catching absolutely everybody stacked on top of each other. TXG with the follow-up of the flying knives as well, looking for the uppercut to chase onto the Syra, who pulled the F1 just to try and escape up the rock formation and lose TXJ's Syra. Zai is going to be in play still with that V2, but the freeze! The Justina V1 catches onto LJX inside the Farrier mech, and TXJ now twists the knife onto the other cannonball composition. It's a wolf eat wolf world, and YZG are the alphas of this lobby.
They certainly are. FPX going down, having had more eliminations than YZG. It doesn't matter. They aren't going to survive long enough, and YZG are going to overtake them. Just absolutely with full confidence, full loot, just absolutely scaled to the brim. Wolves LJX trying his best to survive and hold on to that Syra ultimate until the last few moments so that he can potentially secure that first place finish for himself and his teammates, and potentially deny the first place finish from YZG, making it so that it does end in a draw. But we'll see whether or not that ends up being the case. LJX does come out of that Syra ultimate having been bursted down by the Farrier. YZG looking pretty healthy, but unfortunately for them, JL's Kukutu is going to survive until that last second, counting down to 0, and they are going to end up in a draw. No first place placement, the kill multiplier, unfortunately, but still they get an enormous out. Who knows? Maybe Wolves is they've been communicating, they've been learning from each other, perhaps.
Well, TE is going to be starting things off immediately against GG. No slow and steady. This is an all-out brawl off of the rip. Parries comes on through. CJS goes for the overhold. Actually cancels out of it, but that sets up TE Xiaonan. Dragon Slayers into Nez. So many of the players from GG stacked one on top of each other. He has gone down though. Peak and Absolute Silver's getting hounded by 2 players from GG. Wasn't able to open up the trophy and potentially look for a great armor reset off of the back of it. Alex and Kites over towards the Soul Bloom. Does manage to get the heal before they can follow up the damage off of that Justina V1 freeze, but he gets caught out by it yet again, although there is enough health bar for GG to weather the storm of the blizzard, and they will be able to come out on top.
I feel that Justina, same thing happens with Tarka a lot of the time. You just dash in, or with Tarka, you just go in for the punch, and you just on their head. And it's just, why? It's just, why does this happen? It happened 3 times for him. He couldn't get the follow-up, even though he got the freeze the first time. Gets the freeze, falls off the stairs. Second time, lands on his head. Just unable to do anything. He got the freezes, but is not going to be able to capitalize. Extremely unfortunate for him there. But now heading over to Arcadia, where all of these teams dropped with SS1 OA and OUG all very close to each other. Two-Tick trying to dive in and hold on to these players. OUG SS seems to be the target, but they're all stabilizing and consolidating on top of each other, not able to actually hold any of them down. Two-Tick gets a little bit too close for comfort for SS1, sends out the F and immediately backs off. And JL was actually behind this team and sort of made it through with their attention at their backs. You know, they weren't ready. They could have potentially turned onto JL, but they weren't ready to turn here. And OA, Moonbane is going to go to waste, unfortunately. And I believe that the red Soul Jade has already been taken.
Well, I was gonna say potentially the Moonbane at least buys them safe haven in Arcadia, but if that Vulpine Essence has already been taken and it wasn't OA that picked it up, yeah, that's gonna be a tough pill to swallow for that team, because that's a lot of money now down the drain. They're picking up that Moonbane money that could have been used when the Purple Armors become available, buying at the dealers. As JL now still gonna be chasing onto SS1. Zhao Zhao looking to come on through with that opening gambit of the F2, connecting onto one of these players on the Siphon composition. But the Purple Armor is taking one too many hits from the ranged pot shots. Oh, JL are the ones that grabbed the Vulpine Essence. And that explains how they were able to weave their way through the two teams. The Zwan is getting absolutely fried. The Tester enchantment from Cuckoo connects onto him, and the follow-up damage with the knives is so brutally fast. SS1 have no time to react.
Absolutely, Moxie. Just no time at all. JL executing this perfectly. Very nicely done. This is exactly what you want on this Viper composition. Quick, clean, clinical execution. Assassinate one player as quickly as possible and create that numbers advantage. Now, SS1, they're trying to fight back. ASE as well in the mix. Water, having lost his two teammates in that Syra ultimate, trying to do something, but the teleport comes through, denying any further pressure, and Syra's ultimate is now down, making it impossible for him to really do anything. And he's now going to get chased down by the remaining members of ASE. Mist catching him with the uppercut. Does avoid that F ability. Very nice from Water, but I don't think it's going to net him an avenue of escape, as Xiao Wen with the Justina ult is going to come through, securing that freeze and that kill, and now turning their sights over to JL.
Oh, this could be a very early pop of that Vulpine Essence. The Witch and Teleport's already been burned by JL, and ASE know this. They saw JL proc it, and now they're going to keep up that aggression. The Syra ultimate, the stun dazzles all going JL's way. But the damage is spread between the players. It's not one person getting absolutely fried. And it is going to be Han still just out of that Syra ultimate now, looking to keep up that aggression. Onto JL, drops down, trying to catch them on that reset window with the RMB from that longshot. Doesn't manage to find it. Cuckoo's already been able to fully heal up. Sends out the RMB on those flying knives, and Han's not able to find the opportunity. Skirmishes out of the follow-up damage from the LMB, as Wonfang is actually on the low ground, getting caught out in a 1 versus 3 situation. The Justina freeze was good. The connection onto the Wu Chen, they're able to find it a second time. This time around, though, Cuckoo with the F1 on that Tesla will be able to cover for his teammate. The Wu Chen window is coming in, starting to heal up a little bit of that armor, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough, as Benfic descent on ASE's Mist is going to be able to bring the two players down.
Very nice from ASE, going up to 4 eliminations, currently leading the charge. YZG, still slow and steady, still haven't found any eliminations yet, but that is to be expected. Now going over to the southwestern corner of Imperium, SR up against OA are going to be making short work of them. OA initially had the initiative. They were on the front foot, and all of a sudden SR turn around with this Takeda ultimate and fully burst them down. PP trying his best to disengage, but it's just not going to happen. The Syra ultimate getting the dazzle, and then the Takeda ultimate still was in play, now cancelled, just cutting off any avenue of escape for him. SR also going to go up to 4 eliminations. Both teams, both ASE and SR now on 4. We have OA, JL on 2 each, GG on 3, TE on 1, FPX on 3, OUG on 1. It looks as though we've got a bit of a scrap off here. It's my pile. My floating pile. Get off my boat. Get off my raft.
We've got the opposite extreme for YZGs. They get that for free. Which is insane. They've already got a purple on this side as well in the Tianhai, so that early scaling has done wonders for the threat level that is going to be posed by that Transformers team. We'll have to see whether Wolves have been having the same level of impact as... No, wait, two purple armors. And a purple weapon. Oh, 2 purple weapons. Purple fan, purple longsword picked up for YZG as they now move over towards the Rift dealers. They see that ASE are going to be close to it. And I think, yeah, YZG aren't actually going to be sticking around for too long. They don't want to see if they're going to get pressure because, like we said, this lobby is incredibly aggressive. Any team could be YZG. There is going to be no downtime, no safe haven, and truce over a shop this lobby around.
No, I don't think so. And the YZG recognizing this, immediately going to cut south, go down the map to the very bottom, and get to this realm of Yang portal that's going to be spawning in just here in this golden zone. They may be contested by TE. TE is a little bit split in comparison to YZG. So as soon as they get there, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to deny them their entry. Or really do anything about it. Youth is going to be the first one to turn up. YZG aren't going to be attacking them. They know that this is not worth it. This is the strat. They know the strat. Polite and well-mannered. But oh no, it's gone awry and they're not getting in.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. That was what they were playing for. They haven't got a single elimination because they were so busy scaling up for the first run of Yang, and it's all derailed because they don't get into the portal in time. GG and FPX now going head-to-head 3-3-0 on the Syra with the pulse of goes for the RMB immediately put into stone form. Looks for the RMB to continue. Temmie ultimate comes on down. Both Temmies investing theirs, but Syra is on the field. Temmie ult does absolutely nothing to buy you safe space. 3-3-0 continues to beam, and LXM is taking more and more damage from the opposing Syra. Fuyan doing a very good job of keeping up the pressure onto the Temmie from GG, keeping a track of where he's tried to kite onto behind that pillar to look for a reset opportunity as the Takedas and the Furin shoves now come out. CGS and Kiki both trying to keep each other occupied before CGS actually goes further away, allowing Kiki to get baited into using some of those Furin shoves onto the rest of the team. Takeda finds the connection of the F1. Kiki now is going to utilize hits. Goes for the jump LMB with the flying knives into the follow-up RMB. And this is just FPX cleaning on up the last player from GG's side.
Yeah, FPX looking good. Fuyan, you're absolutely right. He was keeping up that pressure very nicely. Wait, what did I just see in the kill feed? TXJ just died to the zone.
Uh-oh.
Wait. Oh! Do you want to know why? Do you want to know what I think happened?
Did they get a bounty?
I think they were bountied.
Yeah.
And then he let himself die to the zone, immediately res back up, so that they don't get spotted out, because they know now that they're not able to go into the realm of Yang, they obviously know that this Yang depletion situation is going to happen. The scenario that we've been talking about for a while now, where the teams coming out of the realm of Yang, the teams with the buffs, and then the teams with the Yang depletion are going to be gunning for fights. They're going to be looking for opportunities to third party, find just weaker teams hiding at the edges of the zone, that sort of thing, and they don't want any part of it, not at all.
Yeah, the problem is TE, actually their Farrier was watching in soul form. Because TE lost their realm of Yang, so they're not going to immediately go for that soul altar. The Yang depletion was changed so that it's a 5-minute timer now rather than a 4-minute timer. You've got a little bit more opportunity. You don't have to immediately spawn on up onto a soul altar and try and take a fight. You can spend a little bit of downtime scouting out the areas, because even in soul form you can see the players on the map. If they spotted YZG going for the revive shenanigans, T could very well take the engagement with all of their ultimates, though they are going to be down some of that loot, as FPX with a million bird smite are scaled up and having all of the damage to be able to confirm these eliminations. GG going to be on the outside, also having to try and take this fight because they are under Yang depletion. Unfortunately for them, they're going to have to take a fight against the Sand Siphon team.
They are, and GG, they're coming in, they're trying to take advantage of this weakened FPX. FPX not having that ultimate available for the Takeda. Kiki is the focus. GG jumping in, but getting overheld here. The parry does come through, and they are going to be able to claim that elimination, but we're heading over to what is probably the more important fight, I would say. YZG and TE scrapping it out. As you said, the Farrier did spot them out going into that bush, and now the fight has ensued. TXJ is on the run. He's trying to disengage. He does not want to be the one to ult first, as with this composition that they're going up against, if he does ult, when he is in ult, he's going to get completely chopped down and CC'd non-stop due to that Feria, due to that Syra, due to the Justina just having full ult pressure, and they're trying to force out these cooldowns from the enemy team before they have to use it. Xiao Nan, having used that ultimate, is really good for them, but now they're being pressured continuously by the Justina ultimate in a very awkward position. They need to get these ults off right now. QGG does go down. Youth having popped that ultimate, having popped that ultimate, making it very hard for them to stay on their feet. QGG still down for the count, having not been able to really get much use out of that ultimate. CXZ trying to make something happen. The Justina Freach coming through. Is he going to be able to get any of these slams? TE kiting back. The terrain is not good for TXJ. He finds one grab. Wait a minute. He's got one. The slam comes through. I don't think he's going to be able to get the regrab now coming out of that ultimate. Here it is. He's going to have to try and kite this one out. It's not looking good, though, Moxie. Will he survive?
Will he survive? He's scale rushing. And in the meantime, CXC, I think, has actually tried to backtrack over to QGG's body and pick up the zip, potentially, as poor TXJ is taking all of this damage. No, QGG bleeds out. TXJ is going to go down immediately afterwards, and we can have a look to see where CXC has scampered off to. The weight of the world, his two teammates devs, are now on his shoulders. It started off strong for YZG, you know, they found the scaling, they found the loot that they wanted, and it all went horribly, horribly awry when they weren't able to get into that realm of Yang. They got spotted by TE, who had Yang depletion, and now they're going to have to scavenge the entirety of the map to pick up 2 rebuff charms to be in with a ghost of turning this round around. And unfortunately for them, another worse thing has happened. ASC, who was second in overall standings, have found themselves 10 eliminations and a realm of Yang win against TE. This is poor Peak having to go for the Sire ultimate, looking to try and get enough pressure, but that Viper is going to still be able to come on through with the ultimate. Peak gets hit by the V1, loses so much duration uptime of his ultimate, and then gets chain staggered by ASE's Han, who spotted Peak, still stunned, throws a stun dazzle and extends it. Yaoan keeps up the pressure with the staff R&B into Justina ultimate, and Peak is just getting juggled all about the place. He doesn't get to play.
No, he does not. That was, I mean, it was a massive blunder from TE's Peak. It's happened to all of us, though. He comes out from behind the pillar just half a second too early, not expecting to get stunned by the Viper ultimate, and then just gets fully locked down because of it, because he knew his teammate was going to get stunned, and he needed to save him and needed to heal him, but they just jumped the gun a little bit too fast. And here, going into this secondary realm of Yang, we have Wolves up against SS1. ZK, out of nowhere, doesn't expect the flank, gets chopped down by the pulse sword, but LJX does find one, grabs one, is locked up. He is going to get slammed now on top of the pillar. Water constantly pressuring with this Syra ultimate. Does LJX pull it out of the bag? He needs to get a double grab here if his team has any chance of coming away with this win, but no, unfortunately not. He is going to be coming out of that ultimate with no significant value, and NHQ is still in ultimate. He's trying to make something happen, but his ult is about to end, and he's very, very low HP. Zwan now he is getting juggled, though. Is he gonna survive? He's just on a sliver of HP. LJX trying to make something happen, but it's not to be, and SS1 gonna clutch this one up and continue onwards, claiming that buff.
Yeah, second round of Yang fight still ongoing. No surprise to fly. It's Sand Siphon compositions. Rico has to burn that Syra F1. Now gets to commit the alongside LMBs, though, off of that CC set up by his teammates. He's having to be careful that he doesn't get isolated by the Temi, but now that we've got the numbers advantage, we can just back-to-back commit the jump LMBs with that longsword, immediately being able to suction our position directly on top of whoever we are fighting with the target lock on. As SS1 and OUG will be able to get their hands on buffs, SR are going to be able to sit on those just a little bit longer to outlast everybody else's in this lobby. As I do believe YZG still have their Kylan currently alive, but have not yet seen them being able to invest into a rebirth charm, which means that they have not had the opportunity to bring back any of their team. And now we enter into a very precarious part of the round, just like we saw YZG falling prey to Yang depletion forced aggression. Now too, the same issue is forced, but it becomes even harder to avoid because the map is even smaller.
It is indeed, and Mystic might be spooky as well, but I don't think that YZG's kind of is anywhere nearby. But poor PP is gonna get taken down, cut down, disengaging his teammates already down for the count. He's gonna be fully eliminated. They only had 2 kills, so not the best, but you know, it could be worse. But moving forward, we've got SS1 doing extremely well with 6 eliminations, but not as well as ASE, FPX, or SR. SR currently in 11th place, pulling it back from the depths, having been in last place before this on 12 eliminations. Looking pretty good. And considering YZG's current position and status, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to come away with the MVP this time, Moxie. And might not be able to end it in 4 games after all, as he still has not managed to find that resurrection on his teammates. And you know, it's really, really unlucky because they invested all of their money into securing that loot and securing those armors, and then they don't get into the realm of Yang.
Yeah.
And then get caught by TE, probably one of the worst possible compositions to go up against as this comp, because as I was talking about during the fight, you know, TXJ was desperately trying to hold his ult as long as possible to deny their just full monk fry strategy. So it was just so bad. And then the terrain afterwards as well, not able to get enough monk grabs. QGG just getting exploded all of a sudden, the Faria damage, the Justina assassination, making it really tough for them. And then they don't have the money to buy the rebirth chunks.
Yeah, we saw it just there. Absolutely. Well, they have 5,400 coins, so a little bit more time, and potentially they'll be able to afford 1. But Wolves cannot afford to lose this fight. They've got Yang depletion. They've also just invested every single one of their ultimates as FPX look to drop below and kite it out. They're still holding onto their side reveal on 2, so Wolves are going to have to be very careful how they proceed into this next engagement. Jail also looking for a third-party opportunity. Oh, no. Oh, CXC. Oh, you don't want to be here. He's on the left side. He's on the high ground. And he's really hoping he does not get spotted out.
Yeah, he's really hoping. But he's also hoping to see if... Oh, wait, did I just see him drop down? No, I don't think so. I can't tell. It's just a mess of name tags just on my screen right now. Very hard to tell where CXZ has actually gone and what's going on. For FPX, Kiki does go down, unfortunately, with the Yang depletion. He's not going to be resable. Fuyan trying to make something happen, trying to cleanse the Yang depletion, but not able to do so, unfortunately. He's going to be immediately chased down by SS1 in their ultimates. No, it's not CXZ. It's NHQ. I saw Kylan, thought it was CXZ for a second there, but no. Wanfeng, NHQ, all going to be going down in the kill feed. FPX is going to get fully eliminated, I believe. There it is. They were on 10 eliminations as well, doing so well for themselves, but unfortunately, they are going to go down in this pretty horrible situation. But SS1 may have overstepped. And it looks as though they're not going to even try and go for this resurrection. Juan dying in the zone. CXZ, here it is. He's fighting. He's looking for it. He's trying to get this elimination onto ZK, but he's 1 HP. No, not the final dash. Oh. Unfortunate to say the least. We go to game number 5, ladies and gentlemen. It's not over just yet.
And YZG might not be the only team on MVP eligibility on that next game. SS1 60.4, ASE 55.2. Both of these teams very realistically could find themselves surpassing the 63-point threshold, especially given the fact that they're going to be so insanely scaled. That being said, SS1 is going to have to try and recover the Zai, as JL aren't going to be able to recover their game. Alliance take down JL Cuckoo. As we can have a look and see who's going to be controlling Spirit World. This time around, it is going to be ASE, and SS1 were able to pick up their Zai. So they are going to be full team strong ASE, though, with Mystic Might, are potentially going to have a double ultimate cycle. 2 Justina V1 cycles. Yeah, this is a composition you do not want to contest in Spirit Well.
No, you do not. This will be very hard to contest. The Viper ult, the Syra ult, the Justina, it'd just be very hard to actually like brute force your way through. SS1, thankfully for them, as we saw that rebirth charm coming through, is gonna resurrect their third teammate who went down in the zone. Very nice for them. It's they do have blue armor. They've downgraded from gold to blue, but nonetheless, it's better to have a teammate than just not have a teammate. I think this is probably safe to say. And I'm sure they'll be able to find themselves a better armor soon enough. Who knows? They might be able to go over to where this Spirit Well was and grab the purple armor that they dropped. But no, it looks as though TE is going to be doing that instead. Peak diving in. Ooh, can I have it, please? Please? Do you mind? Okay, thanks, buddy. Let's go.
It's the hand-me-downs, you know, when one person like upgrades and you throw away your used belongings. The person in the family, like the younger sibling, always gets the hand-me-downs. Yes, they will happily grab that loot. As we can have a look and see OUG going to be rotating out late, not wanting to get spotted on out. They know Transformers teams have a lot of compositions looking to grief them out. The Viper teams, of the Syra teams, whichever the Syra is on. Sand Siphon also being problematic with Temi Ultimate being able to stop the grabs. Cannonball coming back into the mix, which was, you know, designed to be able to go head-to-head, not just with Sand Siphon, but also Transformers, because the Farrier would be able to stagger the Monk out. If you're using those cannonball shots rather than just the base primary rockets, as we can have a look and see. Moonbane is also going to be showing on up to the party, and he's on no one's side but his own. Who is gonna get caught out? It's almost ASE!
Let's be careful, guys, okay? The spooky Moonbane does a lot of damage. We saw this earlier. Okay, not gonna stand in the Moonbane. And look, it's their learning, Moxie. There's not a single player in the middle of the Moonbane. Thank the Lord. There it is. They're all on the outside waiting. But then again, it could also be contributed to the fact that there are only 18 players alive right now. 18 players means that there's more room, you know, or there's less occupied space because there's fewer people around. SR, speaking of occupying space, they're trying their best, and they're succeeding, considering that they have 2 dreadful whales under their belt. That's 2, not 1, but 2. Junks and Rico both have dreadful whale. Insane. And then they have a Tumult, you know, just on top of that. They can just pop down the ultimate at a moment's notice, and they're positioned directly on top of that Spirit Well. It's going to be loading in. There it is. A Mystic Might Spirit Well on top of that. Unfortunately, it's not going to be the Draco Storm that some of these teams would want, or the White Tiger's prowess. But yeah, they're still going to be contesting it for sure. Giving that double ult is extremely useful. Youth getting into that Farrier mech, dropping down on top of it. The Tumult ult is going to be followed up to try and mitigate this. Youth is going to be backing off just a little bit. Zhao's getting bonked, getting stomped by the Farrier mech. But the dreadful whales coming on through it's gonna scare them away. I think that's pretty scary. How can you really get in there?
2, so when one's charging on up, the other one is already proccing. ASE's Hondo is going to try for it. Rico is going to say, anything you can do, I can do second, which means my ultimate is going to last longer than yours. Stun Dazzle, very much going to be a threat for all of these players on the low ground to bleed into that dreadful whale follow-up. But unfortunately for SR, the plenty that goes down is one of their own. And ASE now, holding that ground, might be able to cap out the Spirit Well. We talked about the composition not being one that you want to contest in the close quarters. Viper, Justina, Syra, every single one of these heroes designed to grief your game. And there are so many teams in this area. If they see one person get hit by a CC, everyone will turn on to them. And it looks like only TE are going to try to get close enough to grab the loot that gets left behind. ASE cap Spirit Well, and everyone else now has to play reaction.
Yeah, they have to play back. They have to try and slowly move away, just leaving space for the other team that they're pushing forwards as well. Come on, hurry up, move. They're coming. They're coming. ASE is coming, ladies and gentlemen. They're turning up and they've got the Mystic Might. You know, the damage reduction that's still impactful. Alliance is going to have to use that Syra ultimate to try and survive. Jinyu inside that monk form, the Vajra state, having a Tumult ult dropped on top of him. They are going to be able to deny any more pressure. But SS1, wait a minute, Water is going to get grabbed and absolutely obliterated. But ASE is going to be the team to pick up the kill. And OUG Jinyu is not going to be able to survive either. Just getting peppered down in that monk state. Mist just turning up, putting a dreadful whale out there just into the world. Just doesn't really matter. He's still gonna be alive. He does lose some of that armor. Xiao Wen is gonna be the wrecking ball that crashes through. The icy boulder rolling through these teams. The dashes. Look at how many dashes he has available. 5. He has another 4 now. If he finds another double stagger with that dash, he's gonna get another one for free. There it is. Gets another one and another one. Cue the montage music, ladies and gentlemen. The Farrier is trying to cut him down and trying to stop him from getting that montage clip, but oh, wait a minute, he might be able to do it. Xiao Wen, he's trying to disengage, he's forced to use the F. Mist trying to find a kill onto a separate player, but is Xiao Wen gonna go down for it? He is indeed, Moxie. Maybe a bit of a miscommunication here, don't you think? Where's my Viper?
Oh, this is tragic, as this one got taken down a stone's throw away from match point eligibility. And ASE now might find themselves facing the same fate. They've lost Han. It's just going to be the Viper for them to try to hold on and get some ranking points to be able to qualify to MVP eligibility. TE's Peak is hunting down everybody out in the sky. Doesn't have the Syra ultimate anymore. Isn't going to let anyone try and take cover behind this tree. If you hide behind the tree, if you're safe from the Farrier mech, the Syra is going to be able to close up the distance and hit you down. And now it becomes a matter of, is it OUG who fall or is it ASE? Baby U is getting targeted. The Kylan ultimate comes on through. You've out of that mech is going to be vulnerable. And Mist tries to go for a play with Dreadful Will. The Viper has V1, not V2, which means that Mist can't do anything except dash and find the stun CC onto Baby U. And off of the back of that, ASE go to 62.7. Mist just has to try and live and find one elimination onto TE, but no! TE, stop ASE from picking up the last elimination needed. That's heartbreaking for both ASE and SS1. They came so close.
Oh my goodness. They get the MVP, but it's not gonna be enough. 0.3! 0.3 in the previous games, so it's possible they're going to be more willing to fight early on, or it's simply that they just were forced to spawn here and that this was the best possible one, the best possible square that they could choose with the objective of scaling up early on. But here we are jumping into this game. JL and OA fighting it out, and it looks as though OA's already lost a member. Meng is down. Tutik overholding on these flying knives, trying to create the threat. The damage does come through. The dagger LMB is going to get released though, and Tutik is not ready for it, unfortunately. BP is going to get chased down, tech chased down by JL. 3 versus 1. And JL very happily going to take 3 eliminations off the bat in the first few moments of the game. Heading over now to YZG, and it looks as though they are being contested by ASE, no less. Moxie.
Yeah, the YZG have locked onto 2 sets of purple weapons already off of the rip. QGG, though, is going to be lacking a little bit of that on. It gets caught out by the Volda F2 into the 1-2 uppercut extension. Now, without that F1, does manage to find the damage off of the back of the staff and the nunchucks from TXJ to be able to confirm these kills onto GG, and that is a good start to the match. ASE's on is going to fall as well, and YZG, having cleaned that one up, are going to be able to hold on to those purple weapons and start scaling on up to the first realm of rank. That is not a good beginning for ASE, though. They needed one singular elimination before they could sit back and guarantee that this map lobby was a success, and they are yet to find it.
Let's see here. SS1's one is going to go down. Unfortunately, Alliance Revenge claiming that elimination, but then Alliance immediately losing Yuma in the back to FPX ZGE on white armor and blue flying knives. He does have that ultimate available at a moment's notice. There it is. The combo break does come out the bell. He's not going to be able to iframe this Tessa ultimate, unfortunately, as he did pre-input that ultimate cast before the Tessa ultimate came through. He's going to get staggered, but we're heading over to YZG, the stars of the show today. They are going to be able to pick up this elimination to Xiao Zhao and quickly follow up onto the remaining members of JL. Cuckoo 2, he's down for the count, and YZG, they're getting very aggressive early on, Moxie. This was it. They had enough. All right, let's stop playing slow. Let's go. Full pedal to the metal, gas. 6 eliminations early on. This might be it, Moxie. We're heading over to
I like
SRG.
the mix-up. The mix-up is very good for a point that we will return to later, because first we have to watch as poor Zhao is getting absolutely decimated by that Viper ultimate. So DS is going to overlap it. Tessa V1 does get stun dazzled, however Rico did get enchanted, and that's going to provide a 3-second window of respite for the Halberds to shred down Jun X. Free will be able to find the elimination credit off of those flying knives, and Rico is now just left to try and fend off the team of GG. But when he falls out of that V1, CDS is going to be directly on top of him, looking for the grapple, goes for the parry in case it's a focus strike connection, and GG this time have ordered their synergies correctly. 1 focuses, 1 light attacks, 1 parries to make sure that you have all of your bases covered. As, oh my goodness, Moonbane has the floor absolutely covered. Someone just got smashed.
They did indeed. OUG and Wolves able to actually make use of Moonbane here. And for once, it seems like, because we don't really see it doing all that well at times with teams trying to get the Moonbane down and lock down players. They do get some value, but unfortunately, I'm not sure if they're actually going to be able to close out these eliminations. OUG is doing a good job of kiting. Wolves still trying to chase them down. Jinyu with that golden weapon does not want to lose this. ZK investing all 4 dashes to chase them. Insanity. Who needs the actual dashes to freeze? Let's just jump in, and he gets the tap dodge roll parry as well onto SS. The Takeda ultimate does come through to try and peel Baby U. 1 HP in a dream. ZK with these parries just left and right, dominating this fight, just fully sending it without a care in the world. Fully conscious, fully engaging, full gas. ZK, he's on a tear. The Justina dash is certainly an indication of this confidence, ready to parry all of these, but unfortunately not ready for this one. The focus attack comes through, right through the Ferrier mech, doesn't spot it out, but dropping down now over to this body is going to be able to heal himself up with that Soul Bloom and with that quick healing berry, and stabilize completely, winning the fight for his team.
Yeah, legendary weapon passes the hands. I mean, it already passed the hands because Wolves were able to parry it out of OUGs as TE's Youth comes on through with the Kylan V2 dashes, tries to break LOS, but does get chased down by the Viper as the V1 enters the CC stun, and now down the Kylan. TE is able to find a double slam, but he's denied the follow-up that he was looking for, with the Witch and Teleport carrying them out of his hands before he can hit the ground and go for a reverb. Tessa Enchantment has also been able to grab onto the Tianhai 2. So with the mash of the struggle button, GG are able to worm their way out of the palm without taking one of those punch-up damages. Tiana now outside of that state. Unfortunately, they've lost the Kylan, even though with the Witch and Teleport, they were able to pick him up originally. The third party comes on out from SR, and they're able to catch on to GG and potentially clean up onto TE2.
Very nice from SR coming in. We've got that purple pulse sword on the side of Zhao. Justina's doing very well today. Justina certainly has been overperforming. I think that she's been performing extremely well in solos. It looks as though these teams and these players have been clocking and actually like investing time into learning Justina and investing time into getting the most value they can out of this character, because it does just come down to that. Justina, when it's played in trios especially, and even in solos of course, it comes down to whether or not the player is actually able to pilot it to a very high level. If you're not just on point with everything Justina, you're not going to have that much success. It takes a lot of precise execution and game knowledge, matchup knowledge to be able to succeed with it. So it's definitely not an easy character to pick up. And so because of that, that's possibly the reason why we haven't seen it all that much, because a lot of time investment is sometimes better spent on other team compositions, other characters that could still very well net you the same result, if not better, with less investment. You know, when it comes to pro play in general, you know, across all esports, the less room for error there is on the, you know, a weapon, a character, whatever it might be, the better, ideally, because then it means that you're inherently going to make fewer mistakes overall. Less room for error, less mistakes. It's better. Even if you're the GOAT, you know, you can still make a mistake. We're all human after all. So you can't just expect to do well regardless. And if you minimize that room for error, it's the optimal choice. But hey, perhaps they've put that little bit of time in. Perhaps they're seeing the value and recognizing that it's actually outweighing the sort of the optimal nature of this less room for error dynamic. But here we are in the realm of Yang. YZG, take it away, Moxie, up against SRT posing.
Yeah, this is the ultimate test because this is the new YZG composition. It is the cannonball with that Justina. Can YZG expose a weakness of this composition? Being the ones that created it, they know inherently how it has to play. TXJ goes in with the nunchucks, putting the pressure, forcing on out now that Syra ultimate and Temi ultimate both being utilized, blocking off access to the Feria V2. And if a player gets too close, the stun dazzle comes on out before they can get into the mech. Jun is getting put under a lot of pressure. TXJ making sure to keep up the stun dazzles onto the opposing Cyrus that Rico doesn't get to try and find an isolation onto the Takeda now that the Temi ultimate has run its course. There's SO Zhao on the outskirts, looks for the Justina dash into pull-up horizontal swing from that pole sword. Is going to get interrupted by the Fury shoves coming on through. QGG having to turn target of focus because of that Justina F2. Going lower and lower, finds the parry into the fan R&B, double jumps into the activation of the F1. Will be able to keep up the pressure. In the interim, his teammates have been able to take down Jun, and now it's just a matter of 3 versus 2. TXJ hounding down the Syra, also closing up the space, but TXJ going dangerously low. QGG with the fan R&B threatening the space. The Temi Whisper's able to grab onto one. The CC is there. The grapple onto SS Rico mid-air into fan R&B as he's grappled into submission. And YZG go from 6 eliminations to 9 with a million birds might. They're not going to be slowing down anytime soon.
No, they're not, Moxie. That was amazing. That was beautifully done. Min-max to the moon, actually. Like, the dipping in and out, QGG played that absurdly well with that Takeda ultimate, timing those Fury Blast perfectly. You know, he got really low for a second there. I thought it was almost over. The Justina dropping down out of the air with that pulse sword R&B chunked both him and his teammate extremely low. But they're able to turn it around with that well-placed Tumult Wisp that just caught the Justina at the very last second of that Tumult Wisp, and they're able to take full advantage, positioning themselves, holding and applying pressure in the right places, turning their attention backwards as well, and the unsuspecting players trying to take advantage of those flank opportunities. Beautifully done. But enough about that. We're going over to this fight between SS1 and Wolves. ZK diving into that Feria mech, able to mitigate the Tessa charm coming through. Wolves with that Vermilion Bird's Might, gonna try and fully send it here onto SS1, who don't have Vermilion Bird's Might, but instead they have that White Tiger's Prowess, which, although it is very, very useful, you do die if you get taken down. You're not rezzing for free, but they do have that Wuchen teleport is going to come through and save them for the moment, save them from losing their life and giving a kill over to this team. Alliance now diving in, looking for that third party, not able to lock these players down. Unfortunately, the Justina dash coming through to take him to safety, but GG and YZG fighting it out in the deserty region over here, and it looks as though they're on the front foot. Moxie, QGG, he's diving in with that fan.
Yeah, CXE was able to find a really good Tavi Wisp, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to be able to convert it into a kill. But GG feeling the pressure. Witch and teleport. Oh no, they Witch and teleported when the Witch was so low. He goes down to the zone, and YZG just backwards turn and see where GG have squirreled themselves off to. QGG with the Furent shoves just being able to keep CJS on the ropes, and YZG off of that little bit of a blunder on the Wuchen teleport placement pick up a 12th elimination. This is not good news for ASE or SS1, who are still on 0 eliminations.
Absolutely insane. ASE and SS1 putting in so much effort, getting so unbelievably close in the previous game, and they're just not able to find their footing at all in this one. Rico has gone down, having cleansed that Yang depletion, so he's not fully dead just yet. But is SR going to be able to actually cleanse the remaining Yang depletion? Because it doesn't look as though they're in a position to continue fighting. The risk of the third party comes through. OA diving in, trying to chase these players down. Xiao Xiao is going to get picked up by One Feng as OA has turned their attention to this fleeing SS1. A YZG though, oh my goodness. Gonna be able to come in and pick up this kill onto the Monk. One Feng, the old teammate, he got nowhere to go, my friend. YZG are cutting you down. Pole Sword Stone Form is not going to save you, unfortunately, and he gets fully eliminated. JL fully out of the lobby. YZG, it might be it. It might be it, Moxie. Can any team actually contest them at this point? They're on 13 eliminations.
Yeah, I'm surprised they actually don't let that revive go through, because potentially they could have been on 14, but they do take the immediate hit onto the Tianhai. They know that there's going to be teams with Yang depletion still rolling around the place, and they don't want to get third-partied by another team, given how the last situation lobby went for YZG. But returning back to that previous point that I wanted to bring up, right? YZG never were this aggressive. Like, yes, when they got Vermilion Bird's Might, they were aggressive when they were able to find that inside the realm of Yang, but at the beginning of the game they were much more aggressive. So if teams were keeping on the kill feed, they would have seen this composition showing up on it, and if they see that composition showing up aggressively at the beginning, they're probably going to discount the possibility that it's YZG, believing that they're going for that slow scaling composition playstyle yet again. So they've sort of given a little bit of a smokescreen. You don't expect a Sand Siphon composition to be YZG, because the Sand Siphon composition at the beginning was playing aggressive and picking up these eliminations, and you can actually see that a lot of the Sand Siphon comps have not been turned on to by the other teams when they see them.
It's a very interesting mix-up, to say the least, and we're going to be going into the realm of Yang yet again. Moxie, YZG and Alliance going head-to-head, and this is new Transformers versus new Sand Siphon. QGG flying up to the sky, popping that F1. The Tumulk ultimate immediately gets committed on top of Yumar, but the Tianhai coming in, jumping into that Tumulk ult and catching QGG, immediately sending him flying in the opposite direction, taking him out of that Tumulk ultimate. The Kylin ultimate has not yet been burned either. YZG are definitely at a disadvantage right now as... Oh, wait a minute! Out of nowhere, the grab onto CXZ. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. The missed time on the dash from Yumar, it does not net them any true follow-up. Unfortunately, Alliance may have blundered their advantage. The Revenge is now forced to use that ultimate. CXZ is getting juggled a little bit by this Kylin, but healed up by TXJ. The orbs coming through, just barely keeping him alive. The juggle, can he reach him? No, the second dash coming through does not connect. The parry comes through. Alliance Revenge goes down. TXJ coming in with these golden halberds, chasing down Yumar. They might be trading out the life of their Tumulk right now. CXZ extremely low, trying to consolidate onto one player, but no, they turn it back around. They're trying to keep him alive. NY7 popping that bell is going to keep himself on his feet. YZG all have no armor, but it's a 3 versus 1. The F1 grab comes through. NY7 tries to go for the jump parry, but it's YZG, my friend. They're not sending a bad blue. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. YZG, another 3 eliminations, golden flying knives, and a gold armor to boot. They are unstoppable with Drakestorm now, Moxie. I have to say, it might be cooked.
I need to see that fight from CXZ's POV, because like we were following TXJ and QGG, but you could see the Temmie's health bar. It was so low, it was practically blinking on 0. But he was able to survive, and not just that, live, kite out of the fight, get an armor powder off. We're gonna get a replay. This isn't from the Temmie's POV, though. This is Wolves versus OAZK, with Justina looking for the slam downs on that spear. Has to go for the F2, knows that he was taking a fight outnumbered 1 versus 2. Has provided the opportunity for NiHQ to get some pressure and zoning onto OA's Meng, who's now the one under a 2 versus 1 scenario. But it was just bait for the Temmie ultimate to lock down the Justina, because now every single time ZK dashes, he's gonna hit a wall. Literally, he's got another dash. He will be able to put himself behind the pillar. Has another F2. Is getting his Syra, spamming the orbs to be able to keep him healed up. And Wolves have been able to find a recovery point as the Tumult ultimate has now gone down. And off of the back of this one, I'm pretty sure that Wolves get PP out of the mix and then get 2-tick out of the mix. What a recovery for Wolves, because the bait of that Justina being stuck at the dead center of the Tumult ultimate could have been the absolute undoing.
It really could have. Wolves, ZK there. I'm not sure why he dropped those Jades. He was just showing off to his teammates, perhaps. Look what I got. He's got that Mortal Defiance. Oh, and some flying knives as well. Oh, and the golden armor. They're heading over to TE, who seemingly are trying to feign like weakness and just show, hey guys, we don't want to fight you, it's not worth it, I don't know what's going on over there. But we're heading over to a fight between Alliance and OA. The parry comes through from Yuma onto 2-tick, gets grabbed up immediately by the Tianhai. No follow-up, unfortunately, coming through from the Kylan as he gets knocked back by the Furin Blast. Very nicely done by 2-tick, holding on to that Furin Blast until that one moment where he expects the Kylan's going to come through with the dash. Yuma constantly being held at bay by this Takeda. NY7 trying his best to hop, skip, and jump up this wall, but unfortunately not really able to. Comes out of that ultimate now, grappling up to try and catch up with his team. But look at what's happening on the map. We've got loads of teams coming in to attempt to vulture this situation. NY7 not having ultimate with Yang depletion. This could be very bad for Alliance with OA, ASE, TE, all of these players, all of these teams lurking around waiting for their moment to strike.
Yeah, ASE think that this is their opportunity to come in for that Lonnie V2 and potentially grab the last elimination needed to back themselves MVP eligibility. Meng is going lower and lower and lower. Can ASE get the damage necessary to claim the elimination? Yes, they can. Unfortunately for them, though, whether or not they get to continue the day with that MVP eligibility coming into play, all rests on the shoulders of YZG, who are up to 16 eliminations. Wolves on 11, also making a gambit for the MVP. And it's all going to come down to this next part of the map. Who is going to be able to get their hands on Spirit Well, given the fact that YZG might have a Sand Siphon composition with that Tumult ultimate being able to block off point of interest, but with Syra in play, the box composition is not as strong as it used to be. We can see Tumult ultimate has been invested for OUG's end, right on the outskirts of that zone, just to give themselves a little bit of space. They saw that TE had that transformer. They did not want to give an opening to Xiaonan on the mid-rotation, and instead the Spirit Well is going to be contested first by FPX, but you can see YZG, TE all waiting for their turn, wanting to see if FPX, in the space of this Tianhai ultimate, are going to be able to carve out that space. Are they going to be contested? Wolves jump into the dome, the Farrier crossing into the space so that the cannonball shots can actually start putting the pressure onto the Tianhai. And FPX went for the ultimate first, but they might have got a little bit too close to the sun on this one, because the dome drops and FPX's health bar drops alongside it.
It does, but we get the buff. Moxie, FPX come in clutch. They weren't able, the teams trying to contest us weren't able to get their foot in the door. YZG lurking on the outside, CXZ biting off a little bit more than he could chew, I think. Forced to use that Tumult ultimate in the opposite direction of this fight to try and get that reset for himself and his teammates. FPX now have full agency to dictate the pace right now. They're trying to chase down all of these players. SS1 Water has been spotted out, no armor to speak of, having managed to get at least one heal off. He's trying to break away. The combo break comes through, but he's gonna get taken down nonetheless. The fan coming through from Xiao Nan, and in the kill feed we can see that I think SR and OUG are also scrapping it out. YZG, we're heading over to them, sort of running by Wolves, not interested in fighting them just yet. They know that if they want to fight, they probably head over to where the third-party opportunities are. SS1 trying desperately to fend off FPX with their White Tiger's prowess, and I think FPX might actually be in a bit of danger here. Their health is going extremely low. The grapple comes through onto Zwan. OUG coming in with the great Zwan. He's not going to be able to heal up. He is going to get taken down by OA's PP. FPX trying desperately to claw their way up the cliffside into the safe zone. They just barely managed to make it through. OUG might be hot on their heels though, but can they even dream of contesting him at this point, as they do still have that White Tiger's prowess for the better part of a minute. YZG now rotating further into this safe zone. Perhaps their intention is to try and secure this upcoming Spirit Well, or perhaps just simply to obliterate this poor, lonely member of OA who just gets blown to pieces by that Cloud Weaver and Heartstopper kick.
Oh my goodness, Cloudweaver and Heartstopper. Heartstopper with that silence effect too is gonna be horrible work to navigate through. Why did he have the means of grabbing people in with Cloudweaver and silencing them with Heartstopper as a finisher? That is a truly brutal combination. Phantom Step as well on QGG so that he can avoid any Viper ultimate. He doesn't have to worry about that though. There are no Viper teams left in play. ASC just the one Ferrier, but they've been able to do that job, as have SS1. Both of those teams, if we go another game, will be MVP eligible, but that is a big old if. YZG 17 eliminations, Wolves on 12. SR potentially also able to grief out that finish line alongside FPX, all of them potentially hitting double digits in the next couple of moments. And Draco Storm is the buff attached to the final Spirit Well, a truly sought after prize. YZG, what are they going to put on the line? Are they going to try and grab it, or are they going to try and play around another team picking it up and scavenge off of the chaos that it provides? QGG puts themselves into prime position on the top of the rooftops to get a good angle, showcasing the Cloudweaver. Wolves already in there. ZK inside the Ferrier mech, starting to take a little bit of pressure though from TE. Xiaonan has to turn around the 180 to make sure that the monk doesn't grab them out of the mech and end the V2 early, and ring around the rosies around the Spirit Well we go. Where will we stop? Who knows? It's going to be a matter of Wolves now without that Ferrier mech giving ground, giving space to TE, accepting the fact that Tianhai is a little bit too scary, but another Ferrier mech steps up to the plate, and this Spirit Well is far from captured. Not even a quarter has been able to be picked up. Wolves now just inching it almost to the 50% frame with the help of the Dreadful Whale, as it looks like YZG are playing full defensive positions right now. They fortified their position behind the building. They're going to let Wolves pick up the Spirit Well.
They may indeed, but that could be their downfall if they allow this to happen, as Wolves is probably the only team who could even think of contesting them on this scoreline that they currently have. 12 eliminations under their belt. ZK, he's dashing through all around, trying his best to keep these players off the Spirit Well, but it's not to be. FPX are going to find their way in regardless. The Tianhai in that Vajra state coming through, throwing hands, trying to catch at least just somebody, but at the very least is going to deny entry for this team. Now, YZG, they've been constantly able to win these Spirit Well situations. They're coming in the last second after these teams have already invested so much of their resources. ZK is gone down as well. ZK having used that Justina ultimate to try and hold the Spirit Well. Ill-advised, perhaps. TXJ jumping in with this Heartstopper kick. YZG may be able to hold this down, but QGG taking a lot of damage. The Tumulk ultimate is in play. The Takeda ultimate as well, sending out that LMB focus. Does he find a kill? No. Goes into the mech. He's trying to survive now. TXJ, having popped that Syra ultimate, is going to be able to throw those orbs down and keep him on his feet. But will any team be able to secure this Spirit Well? TE now trying their hand at holding this down. They do have their ultimates, or at least they're about to. Xiaonan just barely catching that ultimate, taking a little bit of damage. But there's so much progression they need to actually secure it, Moxie. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do it in time.
Oh, it's gonna be close. Wolves might grief them, just hurling one of their bodies onto it. And that's exactly what they try to do. Youth comes on for the Kylan V2. They still have to stop another player. Jun does get grabbed out by Xiaonan and sent outside of the zone. Riku now is going to be the next one, but Jun hops into the barrier mech. And still, TE have not been able to get that last little bit of percentage to pick it up. And now out of their ultimates, SR have moved into position. The Spirit Well's about to despawn if these teams aren't careful. YZG kept themselves entirely safe, absent from the fray the second that Syra ultimate has worn on out. And Spirit Well is gone. Now it's just a matter of YZG playing on the outskirts. We can see them on the left side. CXE throwing in a couple of those Temi Wisps, fishing to see if he can set up a bow shot follow-through combination as YZG's TXJ gets to play off of the back of the Moonshine Storm opening, coming on through from those throwing knives, and YZG are one away from a 20 bomb and one potential win away from finishing off the day early. Wolves still on 12 eliminations. SR also able to creep up to 10. Unfortunately for Wolves and SR, they're not a full team currently, and it very much is YZG in the full driving seat at this moment in time.
Absolutely, they have the full agency. They're three-man strong. CXZ has that Tumulk ultimate ready to go at a moment's notice. And I think TXJ is just a couple percent off of getting that Syra ultimate, so at the very least, if he holds on to this one, he's gonna be able to survive until those last few moments, and they can't be sure that they are fully secured. But I think at this point, considering how well they've managed to stay together, stabilize, deny any of their players from getting taken down in the fray, in the chaos, they may have secured this one. They may have secured it, ladies and gentlemen, the third bi-weekly final. It could be in their hands at the moment. I don't believe any of these players are going to be able to contest them. FBX gets another kill, but it's not going to net them the victory. They're only on 10. It's nothing in comparison to the 19 that YZG has. CXZ now popping down that ultimate, trying to split the safe zone, just barely missing it though, unfortunately not able to separate it completely. QGG jumping in, TXJ getting another kill with that Syra ultimate, and another one. 22-23, ladies and gentlemen. YZG jumping in 20.